Chapter 571, The Yellow Demon is Coming. 99th floor of the Black Tower, you're a field LV. 9 has been activated. You have planted a destruction devourer seed in the body of Delia, the demon of corruption and 8th seat apostle of destruction. As usual, Sejun began his morning routine by planting destruction devourer seeds in Delia's body in the void storage. All right, all done. As soon as Sejun finished planting the destruction devourer seeds, he immediately harvested the crops planted in Delia's body. And then, you have harvested Yuzu. You're a field LV. 9 has been activated, dealing additional damage. You're a field LV. 9 has activated, harvesting the stats of Delia, the demon of corruption and 8th seat apostle of destruction. Strength increases by 40, stamina by 40, agility by 25, and magic power by 45. The first harvest triggered a stat harvest. Oh, what a good start. Feeling good, Sejun worked harder than usual on harvesting the crops, managing to trigger the stat harvest 3 more times over the next 3 hours. All right, just one more to make it 5 times. With renewed motivation, Sejun continued to harvest crops when flap flap. Anton's black dragon statue quietly flew in. And then, brother-in-law come out, over. Ace quietly attempted contact. Brother-in-law is out. Did my baby brother-in-law sleep well, over. Slept well, over. What's your plan for today, over. I'm going to eat and then sleep again, over. As a young dragon just over a month old, Ace had a very desirable lifestyle of eating and sleeping, eating and sleeping. What do you want for lunch today, over? Wants yongari chicken, over. Got it, then lunch today will be yongari chicken, over. Puahihi, brother-in-law, you're the best, over. Haha, I know. Brother-in-law, remember you're lucky because I'll be marrying your sister, over. I think you're right. On behalf of my family, I'm truly grateful for you for marrying my sister, over. Ace suddenly responded seriously to Sejun's words. I'm going to tell your sister, over. Brother-in-law, no, you can't do that. Puying, I was wrong. Clearly terrified of ailing Ace, forgetting to even say over, whimpered as he clung to Sejun's leg. Baby brother-in-law, I'm joking. This will remain our little secret, over. Phew puahiti, thank you brother-in-law, over. After reassuring Ace, Sejun went to the kitchen and started preparing yongari chicken using slime meat. As Sejun cooked, sniff sniff, kilahit kaying. Hee butler, is it time to eat? Blackie, who was sleeping lazily in the sling bag, got excited after smelling the oil. Yes, so wait quietly. Kaying. Got it. Yes. K Kuruk. Charlerang. At Sejun's command, the Blackie family quietly watched him cook. A little while later. Here, baby brother-in-law, take this and share it with your parents, over. Puahiti, brother-in-law, thank you as always, over. Sejun handed over a plate of yongari chicken to Ace. Some time after Ace left. Kyung. Dad, Kyungi's back here, the medicinal herbs. Kyungi returned from the herb field, handing Sejun 3 blue kudzu roots of potential. Thanks, sit down quickly, let's eat lunch. After patting Kyungi's head, Sejun placed a plate of yongari chicken in front of Kyungi and Blackie. Kilahit kaying. Hee food. Chomp chomp chomp. The Blackie family devoured the yongari chicken with excitement. However, Kyung, Dad, aren't you eating? Kyungi didn't immediately eat and asked Sejun. There was no food in front of Sejun. Eat first, Dad's going to eat with Theo Hyung when he comes. Sejun planned to wait and eat with Theo later, so that Theo wouldn't have to eat alone. Kyung. Then Kyungi will eat just 1 piece of yongari chicken and wait with Dad. Hearing Sejun's words, Kyungi stabbed 1 piece of yongari chicken with a fork, put it in his mouth, and set the fork down. Kaying. Then me too. Blackie also tried to wait for Theo, but when did I eat everything? Blackie's food bowl was already sparkling clean. He had finished it all in the meantime. Keikirorong. Iamrarong. Keikuraruk. 199. Having eaten their fill, the Blackie family dozed off while waiting for Theo, and growl. Kyungi's stomach kept sending signals asking for food. Kyungi will eat just one more piece. Unable to endure his hunger, Kyungi picked up another piece of yongari chicken and ate it. Why isn't he coming? Theo's return was later than usual. I hope nothing happened. Though a bit worried, Sejun reassured himself. Theo wasn't the type of cat to get beaten up. If anything, he'd be the one doing the beating. Should I just go check what Theo's up to? Since he had a land deed for the 34th floor of the Brown Tower, Sejun thought about going to find Theo himself. He wasn't worried about missing Theo, since Theo would find him no matter how far apart they were. Kyungi, just eat that for now. Kyung. We need energy if we're going to look for Theo Hyung. Sejun gave Kyungi an excuse so he could eat comfortably. Kyung. Got it. Still hungry, Kyungi took Sejun's words to heart, skewering multiple pieces of yongari chicken onto his fork at once and quickly devouring them to fill his empty stomach. After Kyungi had finished eating all the yongari chicken, Sejun said, "Everyone go inside." Sejun sent Kyungi and the Blackie family into the void storage. Russell. He unfolded the land deed and teleported to the 34th floor of the Brown Tower. 34th floor of the Brown Tower. Puhu Hut, Ganas, now lead me to the treasure vault. Meow. Yes, it's over here. Ganas, the leader of the Brown Outlaws, who had recently become a full-time employee of Sejun Company after receiving Theo's stamp, personally guided Theo to the treasure vault. However, empty. Inside the treasure vault were just a few rusty swords scattered around. Are you kidding me? Meow. Why isn't there any treasure in the treasure vault? Meow. I can't go back to Chairman Park like this. Meow. Theo, who had boasted to Sejun about bringing back a lot of money, scowled heavily as he addressed Ganas. Well, recently we had to make a tribute. If you give me a little time, I'll do my best to refill the vault. Ganas hurriedly explained. No time. Meow. Who did you pay tribute to? Meow. To a group called the Brown Demon Gang in the north. Lead me there. Meow. Yes, let's go. At Theo's command, Ganas eagerly led Theo to the Brown Demon Gang's hideout, sounding quite excited. The Brown Demon Gang was a group so strong that even the boss of the 34th floor of the tower worked under them. Below the 40th floor, they were unmatched. However, even a group like the Brown Demon Gang couldn't defeat someone like Theo, who had just subdued over 300 men in an instant. Brown Demon Gang, just wait, the Yellow Demon is coming. Unlike his usual demeanor when visiting the Brown Demon Gang's hideout, Ganas moved northward with a bright expression and quick steps. A short while later, whack, kug. As Ganas had anticipated, Theo swiftly knocked out the Brown Demon Gang's boss, Rugal, and all his subordinates. Stamp, stamp. He placed his stamp on them one by one. After Theo finished stamping, Puhu Hut, quickly wake up and lead me to the treasure vault. Meow. Slap, slap. Theo grabbed the unconscious Rugal by the collar and slapped his face. As expected of the Yellow Demon. Theo Nim, I know where the treasure vault is. Ganas, eager to score points with Theo, spoke up. Since he had always delivered tributes to the treasure vault, he knew where it was located. Puhu Hut, good. Meow. Lead me there right away. Meow. Yes. Thus, they arrived at the treasure vault of the Brown Demon Gang. This time, it truly lived up to its name, filled to the brim with treasures. Puhu Hut, this is great. Meow. While Theo was enthusiastically stuffing treasures into his bag. Meow. I sense great hybrid Chairman Park's Ni energy nearby. Meow. Theo Sejun, Ni detector detected Sejun. Puhu Hut. Chairman Park must have come looking for me. Meow. Swoosh. Overjoyed, Theo used light speed meow step to move to where Sejun was. Theonim, if you go that way there's a small treasure vault. Huh. Where did he go? Ganes, who was left alone, panicked. If Rugel's subordinates woke up now that Theo had disappeared, Ganes knew he'd be a dead man. Yellow Demon, come back. Ganes desperately searched for Theo. You have arrived at the 34th floor of the Brown Tower. Sejun arrived at the Brown Tower. Where could Theo be? As Sejun focused on trying to locate Theo, suddenly something soft and fluffy covered his face, plunging his vision into darkness. At the same time, he felt a familiar scent and softness. And then, Pew Hut, Chairman Park, did you come because you missed me, meow? A familiar voice. It was Theo. Grab. Meow. Sejun grabbed Theo by the scruff of his neck and pulled him away from his face. Miss you. I came looking because I thought you were eating something delicious by yourself. He grumbled out of habit, feeling a little embarrassed to admit that he had come because he was waiting to have lunch together. I didn't eat anything delicious by myself, meow. I, Vice Chairman Theo, believe Chairman Park's grilled fish and churu are the most delicious in the world, meow. Theo passionately defended himself against Sejun's accusation. Hehe, all right. Feeling better after Theo's words, Sejun patted Theo's head and looked around. What kind of farm is this? He scanned the area. It was nothing but barren wasteland. At that moment, clank, Kyung, Kaying, Kyungi and the Blackie family came running out of the void storage and clung to Sejun. And just like that, the Sejun family was complete. A quest has been triggered. Quest, restore the land's fertility, normalize the farm, and plant 10,000 tangerine seeds on the farm. Reward, recognition as the rightful owner of the Brown Tower 34th floor tangerine farm. At the same time, a land deed quest message appeared before Sejun. Tangerines. If it's tangerine seeds, they should be in the void storage. Well, technically, they weren't seeds but tangerines themselves. But since tangerines have seeds inside, it's the same thing. All right, let's start by restoring the land's fertility. Abundance. Abundance. Sejun activated his power twice, in succession to enhance the land's fertility. With his stamina stat greatly increased compared to before, and thanks to the sunfish core, his vitality had also risen significantly. He could now use his power without relying on mugwort juice potions, and it wasn't a big burden anymore. Meanwhile, KQAH. Spit. Following Sejun's instructions, Kyungi happily peeled tangerines, ate them and spit out the seeds. Kilahit Kaying. He Kyungi hyung us too. Spit. The Blackie family also ate the tangerines that Kyungi had peeled for them and spit out the seeds. After a short while, Pew Hut. So I smacked the back of those brown demon gang bastards' heads and stamped them. The land's fertility has been restored. 10,000 tangerine seeds have been planted. Quest completed. While listening to what Theo had been doing here and working, the land deed quest was completed before he knew it. Good, then let's go get the treasures now. Pew Hut sounds good, meow. KQAH Kyung. Hehe, are we going treasure hunting again? Kilahit Kaying. Great Blackie will find everything. Whether they misunderstood what Sejun and Theo were saying, Kyungi and Blackie seemed to think they were on an actual treasure hunt and were brimming with excitement. Well, in a broader sense, it wasn't entirely wrong. Thus, Sejun and his group headed toward the Brown Demon Gang's hideout. At that moment, catch him! A group of people came running swiftly toward where Sejun was. Please save me. Ganes, if we catch you, you're done for. How dare you betray our Brown Demon Gang? It was Ganes, being chased by the Brown Demon Gang. After Theo had disappeared from the treasure vault, Ganes had thought, well, since it's come to this, might as well grab some treasure and retire. Grabbing a few treasures to use as retirement funds, Ganes had tried to sneak out of the Brown Demon Gang's hideout. But, Ganes, what are you doing here? He had been caught by brown demon gang members returning from outside. Now, he was on the run. Pew hut, don't harass an employee of Sejun Company, meow. Theo instantly sped past the fleeing goddess in an instant. Bam, bam, bam. Theo knocked out the brown demon gang members, chasing goddess in no time. Press. He stamped them all, converting them into 5-year contract employees of Sejun Company. Since they had targeted Ganis, a full-time employee, their contract term was shorter. You have acquired 50 slaves under your command. Due to the effects of your title, Slave King, all stats have increased by 0.5. Heh, now we won't be short on staff for the Tangerine Farm. As Sejun felt satisfied watching his growing workforce. Crunch. The Black Moon opened once again. Chapter 572. Solve this like an adult. Outskirts of destruction. A crimson-red eye, forced wide open by 4 black fingers gripping the Black Moon door, rolled wildly as it scanned the outside. And then, what have you two done? After grasping the situation outside, Destruction angrily shouted at Jormungandr and Hydra. It was no wonder. Destruction only had 2 apostles left, and the remaining forces consisted of just 1 ogre and 2 planet-destroying turtles. I'll kill you. Crunch. Consumed by rage, Destruction thrust its arm into the Black Moon door all the way to its elbow, reaching for Jormungandr and Hydra. It intended to grab and kill them. But the already wide Black Moon door wouldn't open any further, and Destruction's thick arm couldn't easily push forward. I'll kill you. While Destruction lost its reason and struggled to shove its arm through the Black Moon, Jormungandr and Hydra could do nothing but tremble. Their minds went blank, and the thought of running away didn't even occur to them. For the first time, they understood why their prey hadn't run away when faced with them. An entity crushed by overwhelming power and fear was utterly helpless. As they waited motionlessly, resigned to their fate at Destruction's hands, Destruction's massive, grotesque black hand approached them. The hand came within just 5 meters of them when it halted. Destruction's hand stopped. No, it could no longer advance. The size of the Black Moon door had a limit, and no matter how much force Destruction applied, it couldn't push its arm in any further. It was a stroke of tremendous luck. The short 5-meter distance was what saved Jormungandr and Hydra. Crunch. Destruction pulled its arm back. This is your last chance. Regaining some of its composure, Destruction moved away from the Black Moon door and left these parting words. The Black Moon door soon closed. Hugh, we survived. Hydra exhaled in relief. At that moment, chomp! Jormungandr opened its mouth wide and bit down on Hydra's 5 heads. Jormungandr, Nim. You're not serious, right? Hydra's remaining 4 heads turned toward Jormungandr with a shocked expression. But, Hydra, I'm sorry, but I need to survive. You bastard, you. Crunch. Jormungandr opened its mouth even wider and swallowed Hydra's remaining heads as they tried to resist. Jormungandr, the world-devouring serpent and 3rd seed of the Apostle of Destruction. It had the power of infinite appetite that could devour anything and make the power of what it devoured its own. On top of that, it had another power, kin devouring, which amplified the effect 5-fold when it consumed its own kind. Until now, it had restrained itself out of fear of being killed by its comrades or destruction, but this was no time for such concerns. A short while later, gulp, Jormungandr completely swallowed Hydra, head and body alike. I should have done this sooner. Licking its lips, Jormungandr savored the satisfaction of absorbing the power from Hydra's body. And then, just wait a little, I'll finish you all off. It grinned wickedly at Earthworm, a level 10 world thrown out as bait by the creator god, which was squirming before it. 34th floor of the Brown Tower. Pew hut, let's head back to the treasure vault, meow. Yes. At Theo's words, Ganis enthusiastically took the lead. Terrifying yellow demon, It must have calculated everything, even my attempt to escape. Ganes shuddered inwardly at Theo's cunning, convinced he had anticipated his movements and had laid a trap while waiting. As they approached the hideout of the Brown Demon Gang. "Where is it? Find that thieving cat bastard who stole the treasure now." A furious shout echoed from the hideout. The boss of the Brown Demon Gang, Rugal, was enraged at the robbery of their treasure vault and was furiously berating his subordinates. And then, "Meow, did you just call me, the right-hand man of the great Chairman Park, Vice Chairman Theo, a cat bastard? Are you looking down on our Chairman Park?" Thwack. Theo, upset at such a strange point, struck Rugal on the back of his head, forcing him into silence. While Rugal was unconscious. "Kyungi, let's pack up the treasure." "Kyung." "Got it." Following Sejun's instructions, Kyungi used telekinesis to transfer the treasures from the vault into the void storage. "Ganes, by the way, is it okay to use the word brown so freely here in the Brown Tower?" Sejun asked Ganes out of curiosity. As far as he knew, the great dragons were very sensitive about descriptive modifiers like black or white attached to their names. About that, Ganes began to explain. According to Ganes, 1,000 years ago, one of the great brown dragons had joined a group called the Hot Warriors for fun. When the great brown dragon left, he was so pleased with his time with them that he revealed his identity and bestowed upon them the honor of using brown 5 times. Letter 1D667, letter 1F00, y letter 20F, ve circumflex. Thus the Hot Brown Warriors were born. The group considered the honor bestowed by the great brown dragon to be sacred, and for 900 years they never used the remaining 4 instances of the descriptor. However, when the original leader passed away and his son, Rikron, became the new leader and the Hot Brown Warriors began to change. Rikron framed or secretly eliminated warriors who opposed his views, filling the group with his loyal followers. By the time the original members realized something was wrong, it was already too late. Having completely seized control of the organization, Rikron established subordinate groups like the Brown Assassins, the Brown Demon Gang, and the Brown Outlaws to generate income. These subordinate groups engaged in all sorts of atrocities to extort money. Just having the descriptor Brown attached to their name made them powerful wherever they went. Then what about the last usage? Where did they use the final Brown descriptor? Since the explanation accounted for only 4 uses of the descriptor, Sejun asked about the last one. It said that the final Brown descriptor was sold to the Brown Hyena tribe, now the Brown Hyena clan, for an enormous sum of money. "I see, but Ganes, how do you know so much about their internal affairs?" "Well, actually, my father was the deputy leader of the Hot Brown Warriors, but he was dishonorably discharged because of Rikron. So, for revenge." Ganes began to share his story. To clear his father's name, Ganes had infiltrated the Brown Outlaws and was gathering evidence. "But will you be all right?" As he spoke, Ganes began to worry about his own future and asked Sejun if he had a plan. After all, no matter how strong the yellow demon was, he couldn't possibly compare to a great dragon. "About what? Don't you realize what it means to use the descriptor Brown in the tower?" When Sejun looked at him with a clueless expression, Ganes asked with a serious face. "Does it mean that a dragon will get involved if we mess with it?" "Yes, you'll incur the wrath of the great brown dragon." "Really?" "So messing with these guys is essentially messing with the brown dragon." "But they messed with me." Hesitantly. Hearing Ganes's answer, Sejun instead seemed pleased. "Maybe I could get some scales and claws as compensation." This incident was practically giving Sejun a legitimate reason to act. "These guys with the brown descriptor given by the great brown dragon attacked me." If he reported this to the 4 Dragons Council, the matter would be resolved instantly. However, since I'm an adult who can handle things alone, I should solve this like an adult. Sejun decided to handle it amicably, by himself first. Auric, come here. To start, he called for Auric, the tower farmer of the Brown Tower. A moment later, Kelkelkel, Sejun, you called for me. The red goblin Auric responded to Sejun's summons, arriving with his laughter. Auric, tell Gravenim. Tell him that hot brown warriors tried to mess with me and ask how he plans to compensate me. What? The hot brown warriors dared to mess with Sejun. Kelkelkel, this is perfect. Hearing Sejun's words, Auric let out a wicked laugh. The great brown dragon Grave Renma was already displeased with the hot brown warriors. The reason? The honor of using the descriptor brown had been granted to the hot warriors by Grave's own son. Even though Rikron caused chaos in the tower, Grave couldn't personally intervene because of the brown descriptor bestowed by his son. It had been reckless, but a great dragon's promise was sacred, and breaking it was unthinkable. But what if the hot brown warriors provoked a being who possessed dragon bones? That would give the dragon bone-bearing individual a legitimate cause. While the descriptor brown was important, it couldn't compare to dragon bones. In other words, Sejun now held the power of life and death over the hot brown warriors. When Auric reported what he had heard from Sejun to Grave, Great Brown Dragon Gravenim says he will send 5,000 scales and 100 kilograms of claws as compensation. He also says you may deal with the hot brown warriors however you please, Sejun. Grave's judgment was delivered. Hehe, is that so? Auric, then go capture the leader of the hot brown warriors. Kelkelkel, yes, I'll beat him like a dog and bring him to you. Auric, subtly mixing his personal vendetta into Sejun's order, showed how much resentment he had built up against Rikron. All right. Sejun turned a blind eye to Auric's words. Kelkelkel. And so, Auric left with a sly laugh after receiving Sejun's command. What just happened? Ganis, who had been watching from the sidelines, was utterly baffled. With just a few words, Sejun had caused the great brown dragon to send scales and claws as compensation, and the hot brown warriors had been turned into criminals. This one's a demon too, a black demon. Ganis shuddered in fear as he looked at Sejun. Ganis, by the way, where's the best place to do business on the 34th floor of the tower? Sejun asked Ganis for information about the 34th floor. Treasures were great, but he needed to do business to keep earning money afterward. There's a village called Wedgel to the west. It's the most active commercial hub on the 34th floor. Wedgel Village. Sejun repeated the name to commit it to memory. Oh, and when you head to Wedgel Village, you'll come across areas with red ground. Those are quicksand. Don't try to cross them, go around. Ganis warned him about the quicksand along the way. At that moment, Twitch. Meow. Theo, who had been grooming himself enthusiastically while clinging to Sejun's knee, suddenly had his ears perk up involuntarily. Ganis, say that again, meow. Theo, sensing something, urged Ganis to repeat himself. Again. Oh, I was saying when you go to Wedgel Village you should avoid the quicksand. Ganis repeated his earlier words. Twitch. Again, Theo's ears perked up involuntarily. And then, Pew-hut, it feels similar to a pole, meow. Theo realized what was happening. He had developed a new ability, a twitch radar that responded to clues about places he was drawn to based on the information he heard. Pew-hut, Chairman Park, we need to go to the quicksand, meow. Quicksand. Twitch. That's right, meow. My ears keep reacting every time I hear the word quicksand, meow. Got it. If Theo said so, Sejun trusted Theo's words without hesitation. No, I absolutely won't believe you when you say my face is ugly. Sejun trusted Theo about almost everything else. After completely looting both the treasure vault and a smaller stash Ganis had pointed out, they headed toward Wedgel Village, where the quicksand was said to be. This must be it. Sejun looked at the patches of red ground, large and small, and spoke. And then, whoosh! He picked up a stone nearby and tossed it onto the red ground. Sink! The stone sank slowly. It was definitely quicksand. And then, Pew Hut, great hybrid chairman Park, my front paws are being pulled meow. Even Theo's front paws were being drawn downward, as if magnetized. A moment later, Kyung, Dad, I found it. Boom! The 100-meter-tall, gigantified Kyungi dug up the quicksand with his massive front paw and pulled out a gray stone tablet, placing it on the ground. Creator God's tablet. The Creator God's tablet, buried within the brown tower, had finally revealed itself. Kyungi, great job finding the tablet. Vice Chairman Theo, you did great figuring this out too. Pew Hut, of course meow, I worked hard meow. Kyung. When Park Sejun praised Theo and Kyungi for discovering the Creator God's tablet. Kaying. Butler, what about me? Blackie barked fiercely, demanding praise for himself too. All right, Blackie, you've done a great job of eating well and sleeping well, looking cute as always. Sejun, despite having nothing specific to praise Blackie for, found a way to compliment him in his own way. Kivahit. Blackie was very happy. And then, Kivahit Kaying. Hey everyone, did you hear what the butler said? From now on, eat even better and sleep even more. Yes. K. Kurug. Sharalering. Thus, the Blackie family resolved to become even lazier. Chapter 573. Don't you feel sorry for our flamey? Fourth commandment. A tower farmer can simultaneously be a tower farmer of multiple towers. What does it say? I should quickly go ask Aileen to interpret it. Kyungi. Just as Sejun, curious about the content of the Creator God's tablet, was about to hurriedly store the tablet in his void storage, the Brown Tower's administrator says that the Creator God's tablet states, a tower farmer can simultaneously be a tower farmer of multiple towers. The Brown Tower's administrator and the leader of the Great Brown Dragons, Grave Renma, interpreted the Creator God's tablet and spoke to Sejun. And then, oh, is that so? Ah, hello, Gravenum. Sejun, who felt like a thief caught red-handed while trying to secretly take the Creator God's tablet, stammered and responded incoherently. The Brown Tower's administrator says that since you found the Creator God's tablet, he have no intention of complaining about you taking it. The Brown Tower's administrator says he has a favor to ask instead. A favor? Is he going to ask for alcohol? As Sejun wondered what kind of favor Grave might ask for, the Brown Tower's administrator says his favor is to have the Creator God's tablet delivered to the Black Great Tower by his grandson, Garrick. Grave made a request that was completely different from what Sejun had expected. It was for his grandson, who had been crying all day to take the Creator God's tablet to Aileen and had fallen asleep out of exhaustion 2 days ago. All right, but I also have a favor to ask. Please keep it a secret that I was the one who found this Creator God's tablet. In response to Grave's request, Sejun also made a request of his own. Aileen shouldn't know he was the one who found it, so she could boast proudly. Aileen will be so happy. Thinking of how Aileen would send the Creator God's tablet brought by Garrick to him, and how happy she would be, Sejun couldn't help but smile contentedly, a joyful grin spreading across his face. The Brown Tower's administrator agrees. Thank you. With mutual understanding established, they reached a satisfactory agreement. And since it feels wrong to just take this tablet for free, I'll give you 500 bottles of attribute wine and 50 black beans. Is there a specific attribute wine you'd like? Letter 1E5D alpha and letter 1ED5, Veye letter 1D42C. As his mood improved and he became more generous, Sejun decided to give Grave compensation for the tablet. The Brown Tower's administrator says happily that he would like 250 bottles of wild pear wine and 250 bottles of kudzu wine. All right, here you go. Sejun retrieved the wine, black beans, and the Creator God's tablet from his void storage and sent them to Grave. The Brown Tower's administrator says that it will take some time for Auric to arrive, so you should first register the waypoint. The Brown Tower's administrator adds that the timing should work out perfectly if you do so. Okay. After finishing his conversation with Grave, the waypoint on the 34th floor of the Brown Tower has been saved. When Sejun moved to the waypoint and finished registering, Kelkelkel, Sejunim, I've brought him. As Grave mentioned, Auric arrived, accompanied by Rikron, the leader of the Hot Brown Warriors. Rikron, a sphinx cat with no fur and a flesh-colored body, had a particularly swollen blue face. It seemed like he had been beaten by Auric, who probably had a lot of pent-up frustrations before coming. Vice Chairman Theo stamped him. Pew hut, got it, meow. Rikron, don't disgrace cats by challenging our great hybrid Chairman Park again, meow. Stamp. Following Sejun's instructions, Theo scolded Rikron and stamped the 9 dragons employee contract seal on his forehead. Even Sejun couldn't understand why Theo thought challenging him would disgrace cats, but it was probably just the logic of a fanatic. From now on, Ganis will lead the Hot Brown Warriors, and Rikron will be the youngest member. When Sejun announced the personnel changes, What? Ganis and Rikron exclaimed in shock, but the reasons for their surprise were completely different. Ganis rose from the bottom to the top, while Rikron fell from the top to the bottom. Auric helped Ganis until he can properly lead the Hot Brown Warriors. Kelkelkel, just trust me. Auric let out a sly laugh in response to Sejun's orders. Although his laugh didn't inspire much trust, there was no need to worry since Theo would be visiting every day to check on things. All right, let's head back, return. Sejun set the dragon horn's return bracelet to an absolute coordinate and returned to the 99th floor of the Great Black Tower. You have arrived on the 99th floor of the Great Black Tower. When Sejun returned home, Sejunim, why are you so late? I thought I was going to die. Pottery extended his branches toward Sejun, welcoming him warmly. This was because Flamey had been making visits while Sejun was away. And then, hurry up and eat. Until just moments ago, Pottery had spent what felt like an eternal 5 hours eating the Dimensional Tree's special nutrient supplement that Flamey had given during her surprise visit. Pottery, why are your branches so thick? Have you been eating something good by yourself lately? What? Pottery, that's not right. If you have something good, share it with Flamey. Don't you feel sorry for our Flamey? No, I actually wish Flamey would just eat those good things by herself. Completely misunderstanding Pottery's inner thoughts, Sejun continued to speak in a way that made Pottery feel even more exasperated. Oh, now that I think about it, there's also sausage. Make sure to take care of it too. He did manage to say something helpful. All right, there's sausage. Thank you, Sejunim. As Pottery swayed his branches up and down to express his gratitude to Sejun. But wait, where did the sausage tree go? Sejun suddenly realized that the sausage tree, which should have been where he planted it, was missing. Sejunim, I'll go find it. Sausage. Pottery quickly spread his roots wide to search for the missing sausage tree. However, thud, there was no need for that. Let me go, I can't go back. Moo. Sejunim, this tree was running away, so I brought it back. Because the Minotaur King had caught the escaping sausage tree. The sausage tree had been trying to leave the farm by moving little by little each day to avoid becoming successful. However, me successful, no way. In the end, its efforts led it down the very path it wanted to avoid the most, forced success, just like Pottery. Sausage, eat up quickly. Yes. Oh dear, to grow into a dimensional tree, you'll need to eat a lot, Is this why Flamey enjoy feeding others? Excited, Pottery showered Sausage with the same affection he had received from Flamey, happily passing down the love. Meanwhile, Sejun, unaware of the commotion happening underground, said, Should we have grilled sausages today? He harvested sausages from the sausage tree, which had been replanted in its original spot. At that moment, The tower's administrator says she has obtained another creator god's tablet and excitedly asks how amazing she is. Aileen reached out to talk to him. It seems Garrick successfully delivered the creator god's tablet. Of course, you're the best. I thought you were just pretty, but you're incredibly capable too. Truly the most talented dragon in the universe, Aileen. Sejun enthusiastically exaggerated his praise, reacting in the most dramatic way he could. The tower's administrator says with a confident expression and smug voice that she's not that great since there are many dragons better than her. What? Her words and actions are completely different. Sejun couldn't help but laugh at Aileen's contradictory behavior. Thud, the tower's administrator says she has urgent business to attend to and must leave. Embarrassed that Sejun had caught on to her true feelings, Aileen hastily delivered the Creator God's tablet and disappeared. One additional Creator God's tablets has been added near the temple. The divine power received through the blessing of the Creator God increases 12 times. Trustin Park did it again. Trustin Park. Trustin Park. The seed shop headquarters erupted into uproar once more. 88th floor of the Blue Tower. Vice Chairman Theo, how is it? Meow, nothing, meow. Chairman Park, I'm sorry, meow. In response to Sejun's question, Theo, who had quickly explored the 88th floor of the tower, replied in a dejected voice. It's not your fault, Vice Chairman Theo. It's not like it's your responsibility that the Creator God's tablet isn't here, so why are you apologizing? Sejun comforted Theo as he gently patted his head. Whenever Sejun acquired a land deed for the Blue Tower, he would head there in search of the Creator God's tablet. However, even after using 20 land deeds for the Blue Tower, he still hadn't found it. But it's already been a month. Time really flies. As Sejun pondered, the memories of the past month quickly flashed through his mind. First, the seed shop began selling transcendence-grade seeds like dragon fruit and starfruit seeds, allowing Sejun to meet with Sejun number 2. Additionally, by lighting up 7 stars in the sky, he gained the title, One Who Lights the Stars, increasing his divinity by 7. The only regret was that he couldn't assign Sejun number 2 to cooking this time. The duplicated skills this Sejun number 2 inherited were fermentation LV 7 and maintaining cleanliness LV 5. Thus, Sejun number 2 was tasked with managing the brewery and cleaning the surroundings. Additionally, Sejun had an incredibly peculiar experience during the latest blue moon. When the blue moon rose, Peepig, Peepig, Peepayak. The 3 rabbits, Walgang, Walha, and Hugh Walbach, TL, Father Rabbit, Mother Rabbit, and Black Rabbit if you forgot, who were supposed to be on the 55th floor of the tower, suddenly appeared on the 99th floor through the blue moon. According to the rabbits, they had been diligently praying every day at the monument dedicated to Luna, the god of moonlight, which Sejun had erected. Your prayers have been heard. I can smell the strong scent of moonlight from you. I appoint you as moon rabbits, protectors of the moon. Luna had bestowed upon them the title of moon rabbits and granted them a skill called blue moon jump, allowing them to travel to wherever the blue moon appeared. What? You get skills just by praying? Lunanem, please give me skills too. Inspired by this, Sejun also began fervently praying at Luna's monument of achievements after the blue moon. However, perhaps due to his impure intentions or the fact that he didn't carry the scent of moonlight, Luna remained silent. Sorry, Trustin Park, I'd love to appoint you too, but you're not a rabbit. In truth, it was simply because Sejun wasn't a rabbit. After all, the title Moon Rabbit wasn't just for show. TL, read more about Moon Rabbit here, https://gwanjanustic.com/artsculture/Korean culture/Doltaki/. On top of that, over the course of the past month, the White Tower and the Green Tower had both met the conditions for their growth, and were in the process of evolving into the Great White Tower and Great Green Tower. By the way, I wonder if the White Tower has become a Great Tower by now. Ajax, how much time is left until the White Tower's completion? While reminiscing about the events of the past month, Sejun called out to Ajax. The White Tower's honorary employee says about an hour remains. Really? Got it. Then let's throw a celebration party today to commemorate the completion of the Great White Tower. The White Tower's honorary employee says he's really excited. The White Tower's honorary employee says he'll prepare the party venue. All right, Vice Chairman Theo, let's head back. Puhut understood meow. Theo, whose mood had improved after being continuously petted, responded in a bright voice to Sejun's words. With that, Sejun returned to the 99th floor of the Great Black Tower and began preparing food for the celebration party. White Tower Administrator's Area. The growth of the Great White Tower is complete. The Great White Tower's functions are activated. At last, White Tower's growth was complete. Yuhahata. There are 6 beneath me now. Kellyan burst into laughter as he watched the alert on his crystal orb. At that moment, the Great White Tower is now connected to Earthworm. The Great White Tower begins to protect Earthworm. Installing 120 Great White Towers in Earthworm. A notification appeared, indicating that the White Tower had connected to Earthworm. And elsewhere. Good, the digestion is nearly complete. At the outskirts of destruction, Jormungandr, having absorbed approximately 90% of the Hydra's power, licked his lips and smacked his tongue as he turned his attention toward Earthworm. Chapter 574. Should I name the Café Kuti box? Black Tower, 99th floor. The White Tower's honorary employee say that the White Tower's growth has been completed. The White Tower's honorary employee asks when you're coming. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Sizzle. Sejun replied to Ajax's question while busily cooking. Originally, this should have already been finished by now, but... Flab flab. Puahiti, brother-in-law, what are you making? Pancakes. Ajax likes pancakes. You're going to see Ajax Hyung. Yeah, we're going to throw a celebration party, because the White Tower has become the Great White Tower. I want to go too and celebrate with you, brother-in-law. You're still too young, baby brother-in-law, not this time. I think it would be fun to meet Ajax Hyung. When you grow up later, we'll play together. Ace kept hovering around Sejun, subtly giving hints to bring him along. However, as Sejun gently coaxed Ace while continuing to cook, time dragged on longer than expected. Pine, I just want to eat something delicious and have fun with everyone. Ace's eyes started glistening with tears as he realized Sejun's unyielding stance wasn't going to budge. Here, baby brother-in-law, eat this and let's meet Ajax another time. Pine, what is it? This is something Aileen loves, and I don't give it to just anyone, but I'm making an exception because it's you. To pacify Ace, Sejun presented him with a towering 10-layered whipped cream pancake topped with chocolate ice cream. Puahiti, really? Give it to me quickly. The black dragon statue quickly devoured the pancake at Sejun's words. Thanks to that, Ace finally quieted down. Aileen, here's your food. Sejun quickly finished cooking, sent food to Aileen as well, and everyone gather up. He stored the food and his companions in the void storage and moved to the 99th floor of the Great White Tower. Administrator's area of the Black Tower. What's this? Why has Dad been visiting my Sejun so often lately? He's bothering my Sejun. Aileen, who had been monitoring Sejun through the crystal orb, frowned as she spotted Anton's black dragon statue. And when Anton even took the 10-layered whipped cream pancake topped with chocolate ice cream, her favorite. This won't do. I can't let this slide. Aileen sprang to her feet, left the administrator's area of the Black Tower, and went to find Anton. She intended to give him a stern warning not to bother Sejun. However, was it really that bad back then? I'm telling you it was. Our son-in-law has gotten so much stronger now. Back in the day, oh dear. Oh my, just how weak was our son-in-law Park. Anton was chatting warmly with Elizabeth, reminiscing about Sejun's ultra-super-weak sunfish days. He was engaged in conversation and not moving the dragon statue around. Moreover, The pancakes, which would have been decisive evidence, were nowhere to be seen. Then who was it? Aileen stared into her crystal orb and pondered. TL, if you forgot, Aileen can only see from the crystal orb without any sound. Inside the crystal ball, Anton's black dragon statue was rummaging through the kitchen where Sejun had cooked, looking for food. Who else could it be? Ace. Since only one suspect came to mind, Aileen immediately set off to find Ace. To catch him in the act, she rushed to Ace's room. Bang! She flung the door open. And then, ha ennuna hic. Ace, startled, hiccuped loudly. Hiccuping aside, the whipped cream smeared all around his mouth was damning evidence. Both his hiccups and the cream left no doubt that Ace was the culprit. And then, Ace, how many times have I told you not to bother my Sejun? Wah ennuna, I'm sorry. Aileen's scolding began. You have arrived at the 99th floor of the Great White Tower. As Sejun arrived, Sejun Hyung. Bang! Ajax immediately greeted Sejun with an enthusiastic body attack. You have taken a critical hit. You are in an invincible state. You do not take any damage. Thanks to the 5 seconds of invincibility, he didn't die. It hurts. Still, he couldn't help but tear up a little. At that moment, clink. Pew hut, Great Hybrid Chairman Park rapport meow. Chairman Park, what's wrong meow? Your face looks absolutely ugly meow. Theo came out of the void storage and started kneading Sejun's face energetically, easing much of the pain he felt. Although the impact had been to his chest, the fact that Theo was massaging his face was a mystery, but since it stopped hurting, Sejun didn't mind. Kyung. Kaying. Next, Kyungi and Blackie also dashed out of the void storage, and each found their place. After Sejun, Theo, Kyungi, and even Blackie had all come out. Sejun Hyung, it's over there. Okay. Ajax guided Sejun and the group to the party venue he had prepared. This time, it wasn't by a lake, but at the summit of a mountain, offering a panoramic view of the surrounding scenery. When they arrived at the party venue, Sejun Nim, greetings. The Ogre King Les, who had been waiting while preparing for the party, lowered his massive white body and greeted Sejun. And then, Sejun Nim, your muscle strengthening technique is. Les looked at Sejun in astonishment. My muscle strengthening technique has indeed advanced a lot. Sejun, seeing Les' reaction, replied proudly. After all, his battle aura had improved by 2 levels, so he felt it was worth bragging about. Of course, that was just Sejun's perspective, and he's still only at that level. Les was actually shocked by how little Sejun had progressed. The muscle strengthening technique had a total of 10 levels, with 10 stages to overcome in each level. In other words, Sejun had achieved only 3% of the entire 100-stage technique. Considering that most ogres could reach level 3 within a month, Sejun's progress was astoundingly slow. Of course, even for ogres, the pace of mastery slows significantly after level 5, and most hit a plateau at level 8. For reference, in the history of ogres, there were only a handful who had reached level 9. And as for level 10, apart from the ogre who originally created the technique, no one had ever achieved it. If only he'd reached level 3, I could have taught him other battle aura techniques. Yes, you're right, there's nothing more I can teach you. Though it was because of Sejun's low skill level, Les lied once again for the sake of his own survival. Well then let's take out the food. When Sejun spoke cheerfully in response to Les' words, the group began taking food out of the void storage. Starting with Ajax's favorite pancakes, a variety of dishes emerged from the storage. Pew hut, this grilled fish is delicious meow. Kyungi. Of course, Gary Diok dipped in kudzu honey are the best. Kilahit Kaying. It's roasted and dried sweet potatoes. As expected of Sejun Hyung's pancakes, they're so delicious. They really are delicious. The group enjoyed Sejun's food with great enthusiasm. A little while later, after the meal ended, Kyung, here's Dad's coffee. Kyungi brewed coffee and handed it to Sejun. Thanks. Slurp. As expected, our barista Ku's coffee is the best. The moment he took a sip, Sejun furrowed his brows in bliss and lavishly praised Kyungi's coffee. At first, it had been mere flattery to make Kyungi happy, but at some point, Kyungi's coffee brewing skills had become astonishingly refined, and Sejun's compliments were now genuine. When we return to Earth later, I'll open a cafe with our Kyungi. Then the money. Hezeli. Even though Sejun already had more money than he could spend in a lifetime, he still couldn't help but fantasize about earning more. Should I name the cafe Kuti Box, TL, Kyungi plus Theo? While Sejun was contemplating the cafe's name. Kyung. Let's follow Kyungi. Me. Kyungi led Les to quiet area. And then, Goo. As Kyungi released his energy. What? This is battle aura. Les was stunned. Kyungi had not only mastered battle aura and the muscle strengthening technique on his own, but had achieved a level far above Sejun's. Level 9. In fact, Kyungi was higher than Les, who was at level 8. Kyung. Les, teach Kyungi other battle aura techniques. Kyungi will learn first and teach Dad. Understood. Then let's start with the battle aura muscle amplification technique. Kyung. While Kyungi was busy learning battle aura techniques from Les. Sejun, who had been waiting for Kyungi, fell asleep and Gorarong. Ararong. Theo and Ajax also found their spots on Sejun's body and fell asleep. At that moment, Kilahit Kaying. Time to make my treasure stash here too. Blackie, who had been waiting for everyone to fall asleep, grabbed a half-eaten roasted and dried sweet potato and started looking for a place to hide it. The void storage would have been the ideal spot, but can't dig the ground there, so it won't do. By Blackie's standards, it wasn't acceptable. And here was the Blackie family, burying dried sweet potato in a place they might never return to. Kaying. Guys, hurry and dig. Yes. Kuruk. Sharaleng. Blackie's subordinates, following his command, diligently dug into the ground. Thud. I'll eat it later. Blackie buried half of the roasted and dried sweet potato he had been holding in his mouth. Once the sweet potato was safely buried. Kilahit Kaying. Now let's sleep. Da-da-da. Blackie carried his underlings on his back and quickly dashed over, and Kaying. Butler, lift great Blackie, lift me now. He barked enthusiastically while pawing at the sleeping Sejun's hand. With sleepy eyes, Sejun picked up Blackie and placed him into the sling bag. He then fell back asleep. Kirarong. The Blackie family also started taking their afternoon nap in earnest. A little while later, Kyung learned everything. Kyungi, who had learned all the battle aura techniques that Les knew in less than an hour, clung to Sejun's side. Kirarong. And joined him for afternoon nap. A dullard followed by geniuses. Les, standing vigilantly on watch of his own accord, marveled at the sight of Sejun surrounded by Theo, Kyungi, and Ajax as they all slept. Kirarong. Of course, he saw the Blackie family too, but are they pets? He just ignored them. If Blackie had known he was being ignored, Les would have gotten a headbutt from Great Blackie himself. As Sejun and his companions enjoyed a pleasant nap. Crack. A giant crack appeared in the sky of the level 10 world, Earthworm. Kwaijujuk. Through the sky, massive white pillars began descending onto the ground. These were the fangs of Jormungandr, the world-devouring serpent and third seed of the Apostle of Destruction, now the sole remaining apostle. This is the destructive attack the Creator God spoke of. Retreat underground. Earth dragons of various colors hurriedly hid their bodies underground. They had been instructed to wait underground until reinforcements arrived from the Creator God. However, gulp, Jormungandr swallowed the entire earthworm whole. Burp kekek, did I eat too much? Jormungandr burped after devouring earthworm, his belly swollen, and then slithered back to the outskirts of destruction. White Tower Administrator's Area. All right, today's my treat, so drink up. To celebrate the White Tower's transformation, Kellyan was throwing a drinking party with other members of the Four Dragons Council. At that moment, Wulong, Wulong, the crystal orb began vibrating strongly. Hold on a second. Kellyan excused himself from the other dragons and quickly checked the crystal orb. And the destruction of Earthworm has begun. Earthworm has been 35% destroyed by destruction. If Earthworm is destroyed more than 70%, the 15,192 worlds supported by Earthworm will perish. What? It hadn't even been an hour since the connection was established. Kellyan panicked as he read the crystal orb's alerts. However, Hydra, the nine-headed snake and 10th seat of the Apostles of Destruction, has invaded Earthworm. The destruction of Earthworm is accelerating. Earthworm will be completely destroyed in 3 hours. There wasn't even time to panic. No time. Kellyan hurriedly began devising countermeasures. Sejun, help. First, he called out to Sejun for help. After all, when it came to the field of defeating Apostles of Destruction, Sejun was a recognized expert even among dragons. Chapter 575, When Will This End? Inside Jormungandr's stomach. SHHK. SHHK. Jormungandr, you traitor. When Hydra, who was being restrained by hundreds of millions of white snakes and dying as his power was being drained, cursed at Jormungandr. Kugun. Earthworm rolled into Jormungandr's stomach. If I can get inside that, I might survive. The hope of survival arose and crunch. Hydra, with all its might, broke free from the snakes binding its body and quickly approached Earthworm. Then, get in. It forced its body through the part destroyed by Jormungandr. Its body, weakened and shrunken from the loss of energy, allowed it to slip into the Earthworm without much effort. After entering Earthworm, Hydra. What? There are still plenty of survivors here. Sensing the presence of Earth dragons hidden underground, Hydra felt delighted. Though they were enemies it would normally have to kill, the enemy of its enemy was its ally for now. At this moment, they were comrades who had to fight together. Hey, get out here now. If you just stay still, we're all going to die. Hydra called out to the Earth dragons while SHHK. SHHK. It used its 9 heads to bite and kill the white snakes slithering through the hole in Earthworm. And then, what's going on? The Earth dragons, who had been instructed to wait until the support from the Creator God arrived, were bewildered by the Hydra's actions and didn't know what to do. However, seeing the Hydra fiercely fighting against the white snakes on its own, they realized it wasn't likely to attack them. As a result, a few representatives cautiously surfaced. It's not attacking us. Could it really be fighting with us? Could this Hydra possibly be the reinforcement sent by the Creator God? The Earth dragons put their doubts about the Hydra and began assisting it in fighting off the white snakes invading Earthworm. What? I thought you guys were cowards, but you fight pretty well. Hydranim, you fight pretty well too for an Apostle of Destruction. Before long, the Hydra and the Earth dragons became friendly enough to exchange jokes. White Tower, 99th floor. Sejun. Someone shook him awake, calling out his name. What is it? Struggling to open his eyes and regain his focus, Sejun came to his senses. Sejun, Kellyan is asking you to quickly check your messages. Les, who had been keeping watch, spoke urgently to Sejun. Messages? Sejun rubbed his eyes and hurriedly checked his messages. At the formal request of the Great White Dragon, Kellyan, Black Tower's Tower Farmer Park Sejun has been appointed as the temporary mid-level administrator of the White Tower. You have gained authorization to access the Level 10 World Earthworm, which is connected to the White Tower. A quest has been generated. Quest: go to Earthworm and stop the invasion of destruction. If more than 70% of Earthworm is destroyed by destruction, the 15,192 worlds supported by Earthworm will also be destroyed. All of your stay fee will be fully covered by Great White Dragon Kellyan Mame. Reward: salvation of Earthworm and 15,192 worlds, all stats plus 100, one new power official appointment as a mid-level administrator of the White Tower. A quest has been generated. Quest: expel Hydra, the nine-headed snake and 10th seat of the Apostles of Destruction, from Earthworm within 3 hours. Reward: delay the destruction of Earthworm and 15,192 other worlds. Failure: the destruction of Earthworm and 15,192 worlds. What is all this? Overwhelmed by the sheer volume of messages, Sejun was taken aback. On top of that, the content was incredibly serious. However, Kellyan Nim, I need the land deed for the first floor of the tower. Please get it for me quickly. Sejun, being an expert at defeating Apostles of Destruction, regained his composure and requested what he needed from Kellyan. First, he needed to get to the first floor of the tower to use the exclusive passage to Earthworm. The White Tower's administrator asks you to wait for a moment. Bring the land deed for the first floor of the tower. At the commanding order of the leader of the Great White Dragons, Kellyan Mame, the entire White Tower was thrown into a frenzy. The tower's floors trembled with fear as they scrambled to find the land deed for the first floor and present it to Kellyan. While Kellyan might seem like a friendly neighborhood grandfather to Sejun, to other beings he was a cold and fearsome ruler. 30 minutes later. All right, I'll leave right away. As Sejun prepared to depart, holding the land deed for the first floor of the tower that Kellyan had provided. Sejun Hyung, I want to go too. This is something that happened in our tower so. Ajax, worried that Sejun might reject him, began eagerly explaining why he had to come along. All right, if Ajax comes along, that's reassuring for me. Sejun readily permitted Ajax to accompany him. Having faced so many Apostles of Destruction, Sejun figured Ajax would be a reliable ally. Moreover, since this was a White Tower matter, it made sense for Ajax to come along. Yuehe, Sejun Hyung, you can count on me. Ajax wore a confident expression at Sejun's approval. Then let's go. Sejun put his companions in the void storage and swoosh. He unfolded the land deed and teleported to the first floor of the tower. You have arrived at the first floor of the White Tower. Clink. Vice Chairman Theo come out. As soon as Sejun arrived on the first floor, he opened the void storage and summoned Theo. Hut, I too missed Great Hybrid Chairman Park meow. Grab. Theo excitedly ran out at Sejun's call and clung to his knees. Meow meow meow. Chairman Park, your energy feels so warm meow. Humming a happy tune, Theo absorbed the energy emanating from Sejun. By now, Sejun had grown so strong that if he recklessly emitted energy on the tower's first floor, it could accidentally harm many people. With Theo's assistance, Sejun moved to the exclusive passageway, placing his hand on the white hole in the ground. Currently, 15 individuals are attempting to use the exclusive passage. As the message appeared, the stay fees were quickly calculated. Once again, Sejun's stay fees were the cheapest. After the calculations were completed, moving to Earthworm, Sejun disappeared into the white hole along with the message. Earthworm. Hydronym, they're heading your way. Got it, everyone move aside. Quayo. One of Hydra's 9 heads fired a black breath attack at the white snakes being lured by the Earth Dragons. SSSSHHH. The white snakes in the ground of Earthworm melted under Hydra's poisonous breath. While the attack caused more destruction to Earthworm, This wasn't the time to worry about such things. Crunch, crunch. Even now, white snakes were endlessly infiltrating earthworm, attempting to digest it. As Hydra and the earth dragons frantically fought off the invading white snakes. Whoom! A white hole appeared in midair before Hydra, and Sejun and his companions emerged from it. What? It's Hydra. Guys, eat this quickly and attack. Unaware that Hydra and the earth dragons were allies, Sejun hastily took out a bean set and put them into his companions' mouths as he issued orders. Pew hut, it's time for the supergiant Chairman Park punch, meow. Kyung, time for punishment. Take the breath of the great white dragon Ajax. The group immediately launched an attack on Hydra. Killahit Kang. Hee, guys, let's go get the youngest. Yes. K. Kuruk. Sharalang. While Sejun's group distracted Hydra, the Blackie family charged toward it. Peepoo. Hydra, good to see you. Time to put you to work. Bibe. Hooray, I'm free now. Among them, Mukpupil and Bisugu were the happiest to encounter Hydra. Boom. K. Kirarong. Iamrarong. K. Kurarong. The Blackie family headbutted Hydra, causing it to faint. Thud. Soon, Hydra also collapsed unconscious. And then, what? It was the reinforcement sent by the Creator God. The Earth Dragons glared at Sejun and his companions with eyes full of resentment for attacking Hydra. While Sejun was indeed the reinforcement sent by the Creator God, the situation had become quite complicated. Oh, my friends, for my Toryong, I can relax. Unaware of the Earth Dragon's feelings, Sejun greeted them warmly. At that moment, SHHK, a white snake fell from the sky, opening its massive jaws to swallow Sejun whole. Meow. I, Vice Chairman Theo, will protect the great hybrid Chairman Park, meow. Bang. Theo leapt forward and smashed the white snake's head. Then, Guard Park Theo has slain a digestive cell of Jormungandr, the world-devouring serpent and third seat of the Apostle of Destruction. You've gained 500,000 experience points, 50% of the experience points earned by Guard Park Theo. The message appeared. Jormungandr's digestive cell. Reading the message, Sejun realized something was off. Digestive cells would only be present inside its stomach. However, there wasn't much time to think. Crack. The sky shattered in. Thud. Tens of thousands of white snakes invaded into Earthworm. Dealing with the enemy had to come first. Meow meow storm fist. Meow 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 meow. Kyung. Kyungi's thunder. P-spin. Qo. Theo, Kyungi, Peacebees and Ajax worked together to deal with the white snakes. Clang. Guys, come out. Kiki. Sejun summoned the destruction devourers stored in his void storage, instructing them to absorb the energy of destructive spreading throughout the area. Then, Harvester of Death. Infusing magic into Orb of Death's energy, Sejun joined in the fight, taking down the white snakes. Swish. A scythe of death that was incomparably smaller than when instantly killing Leviathan's tsunami appeared. Even so, it managed to slice through 10 white snakes. At that moment, crack, the sky shattered again and thud, a massive horde of white snakes surged into Earthworm. Crack, thud, another wave broke in. The destruction of Earthworm was worsening, making it easier for the invaders to infiltrate. The white snakes endlessly pouring down from the sky like that. It was like watching a white waterfall falling from the sky. Haha, time to go all out. Summon Earthblade. TL, if you forgot, it is the power granted by Paddock's divine relic Earthblade. Watching the swarms of white snakes, Sejun smirked and raised his right hand, summoning a crude stone blade into his hand. As Sejun imbued magic into the stone blade, Wung, it began growing larger and larger. The blade, absorbing Sejun's magic, expanded until it was massive enough to touch the sky. Earth Blade. Sejun used the power. Earth Blade, embedded in the divine relic while swinging the Earth Blade down strongly following the swordsmanship techniques he learned from Bache. Kuwang. Contrary to Sejun's expectations, the heavy stone blade fell excruciatingly slowly. Yet the white snakes did not evade it, or rather they couldn't, because strong gravity was being generated along the sword path that Sejun was swinging. As the stone blade drew closer to the ground, the gravity intensified. Woo! Even the nearby white snakes were pulled toward it. SHHK. SHHK. The white snakes struggled to escape the descending blade, but the gravity was too strong to escape. And insufficient life force to maintain the power. One life orb has been consumed. When will this end? Even here, there was someone who was struggling to keep up. Sejun had thought he could wield the power simply by charging it with magic power and earth energy, but it was consuming a vast amount of life force. Chairman Park is dying, meow. Realizing Sejun's precarious state, Theo hurriedly clung to Sejun's face and Chairman Park, quickly drink this, meow. Without hesitation, Theo poured a mugwort juice potion into Sejun's mouth. Gulp, gulp. You have consumed mugwort juice of life. Life force has been restored by 10%. Thanks, Vice Chairman Theo. Thanks to Theo, Sejun barely managed to sustain himself. After a while, Kung, the earth blade collided with the ground and you have killed digestive cells of Jormungandr, the world-devouring serpent and third seat of the Apostle of Destruction. You gained 1 million experience points. Sejun had killed close to 1 million white snakes. How was that? I carried the team, didn't I? With a smug expression, Sejun looked at his companions. What are you talking about, meow? Kyung. Sejun Hyung, why? The group couldn't understand why Sejun was looking at them like that. And it was no wonder. The number of white snakes defeated by Theo, Kyungi, and Ajax had exceeded 50 million. Just as Sejun was failing to earn recognition from his companions. You have defeated Hydra, the Apostle of Destruction 10th seat, the nine-headed serpent that descended upon Earthworm. Quest completed. As a reward for completing the quest, the destruction of Earthworm, and the 15,192 worlds it supports is delayed by 12 hours. The quest completion message appeared. Kilahit Kang. Butler, I brought a new recruit. Blackie came running to Sejun, holding a nine-headed lizard in his mouth. And at the same time, why does my stomach feel so unsettled? Did I eat too much? Having lost a large number of its digestive cells at once, Jormungandr suddenly began to experience indigestion. Main story encounter, 149 chapters remaining. Chapter 576, It's all according to Great Blackie's plan. Inside the mental world of Hydra's first head. GRRRR, do you want to come over here quickly and get beaten together, or would you prefer to be beaten separately until you die? Gather quickly while I'm still being nice. Blackie roared with a menacing voice toward the surroundings. For the muck pupil, as long as you subdued the main mind located in the head, the auxiliary minds in the 8 legs would be subdued together. But in the case of Hydra, each head's consciousness was equal, so subduing just one was meaningless. All had to be subdued at once. After a short while. 1, 2, 9 roll call complete. All 9 lizards of different colors gathered in one place. TL, Korean skink to be specific. GRRRR, first bow your heads. Yes, sir. Hydra, do you know what you did wrong? They started the conversation while bowing their heads first. The conversation started with Hydra's apology, followed by an apology to Muckpupil, and ended with the humiliating process of receiving over the youngest subordinate's duties from Bisugu. And then, Great Blackienim still, we fought together with the Earth Dragons against Jormungandr to prevent Earthworm from being digested, TL, each of the lizards speaking a part of the complete sentence. The nine-headed Hydra started appealing to Blackie about its merits to receive some consideration. That was well done. I'll let Butler know about it. Hee, thank you. But what do you mean by fought to prevent being digested by Jormungandr? Blackie, who still didn't know that the earthworm was inside Jormungandr's stomach, asked. At that moment, what? You didn't know? This is inside Jormungandr's stomach right now. Jormungandr ate me to save itself. That bastard is real trash. Great Blackie, please take care of Jormungandr. Hydra ranted, tattling on Jormungandr to Blackie about the bad things Jormungandr had done. What, eating a comrade? Grrrr, I'll personally destroy Jormungandr. Thank you. Hydra rejoiced at Blackie's answer. However, you fool, that means you'll remain the youngest forever. The rest of the Blackie family looked at Hydra with pity. After finishing the meeting with Blackie like that, Hydra, who had lost power and shrunk, stood before Sejun. With its 9 tiny heads, now no bigger than peas, it bowed energetically. Hithid. Sunfish Sejun hello, greetings from the new recruit. Following the handover instructions from Bisugu, Hydra greeted Sejun. Kivihit. That's right, Butler is a sunfish. Blackie felt pleased with Hydra's greeting. Nice to meet you too. Sejun, who couldn't understand Hydra's words, simply accepted its greeting without knowing anything. Kivihit Kang. Hee, Butler, give this one a name. Blackie asked Sejun to name Hydra. A name. 9 heads, 9 colors, a lizard. Sejun examined Hydra while extracting characteristics and fell into thought. Ding! Sejun's naming shop opened once again. 9 Koguhenus, gu-headed Chinese letter du snake Chinese letter sa gyujusa, TL, Chinese letter and Chinese letter are Chinese characters. 9 colored lizard gusekdu, TL, Koguenus, gu meaning 9 plus kose, inus sek meaning color plus kodoinus, du from kodomabem inus meaning lizard. 9-headed Hydra gujira, TL, Koguenus, gu meaning 9 plus Chinese letter du plus kotainus, ra from Hydra. As Sejun enthusiastically brainstormed names. Thump thump. The Blackie family watched Sejun with eyes full of expectation. Mukun mukun. Peepukun peepukun. Bikun bikun. The 789 line especially had high hopes. It's time for a name with 10 in it. Sejun, under the intense gaze of the 789 line, included 10 in the name and continued brainstorming. 9 heads plus 10, Amisip, TL, Ko'amasip Amisip equals Hangul Ko'ainus, A from Ko'ahop inus meaning 9 plus Koma inus Mio from Komudi inus meaning head plus Kosip inus, Sip meaning 10. Also in the final name Ko'ama inus meaning armor plus Kosip inus, Sip, due to which it can also be translated as armored 10 or armored sip / armored ship. 9 lizard plus 10, Adasip, like above Hangul Ko'ainus, A from Ko'ahopenus meaning 9 plus Kodoinus, Du from Kodomabemenus meaning lizard plus Kosip inus, Sip meaning 10. This is tough. As soon as 10 was added, the naming difficulty shot up dramatically. At that moment, Kaying. Oh right, Butler, it wasn't attacking here, it was protecting it, so give it a slightly better name. That's true. Hydranim helped us out. Blackie and the Earth Dragons vouched for Hydra, pleading for some leniency. They also told him that Earthworm was now in Jormungandr's stomach. Since this was something Sejun had somewhat anticipated, he wasn't particularly surprised. Because Hydra had done a good deed, Sejun decided to give it a slightly better name. Listening to Blackie's suggestion, Sejun resumed naming Hydra, since it had accumulated virtue by doing good deeds. The ultimate virtue is 10 virtues. TL, talking about the 10 virtues. Read more here https://www.unseenwarfare.net/the 10 virtues #. Text equals if %20 we %20 distill %20 the %20 long, %2c %20 and %20 gratitude %20 contentment. But since it has 9 heads, Siptiaku, TL, Kosipta kuenus, Siptiaku equals Kosipta, inus, meaning 10 virtues plus Koguenus, Gu meaning 9, so overall the name became 10 virtues 9. Siptiaku, that's good. The name rolled off the tongue smoothly. However, consideration for leniency didn't always mean something good. Because the better Sejun's intentions, the more likely a more tragic name would come out. And, it's all according to Great Blackie's plan. That was precisely what Blackie had aimed for. Kivahit Kaying. Butler, you did great. Sejun Nim has done it again. K. Kurug. Shallering. Blackie family cheered at the name Sejun came up with. Mumu. Pipu. Bibe. Even the 789 line cheered. They had finally escaped from the very bottom. Mubelchil and Mukbupil were happy that after Basugu, they now had Siptiaku as a solid foundation. I'm not alone. Basugu was thrilled that a name on par with its own had been created. Once the naming was complete, the effect of talent, Namer, has been activated. The name Siptiaku has been imbued with a special effect. All stats increase by 109. Power 10 virtues has been granted. Special effects were imbued in the name Siptiaku. Power 10 virtues was a power that granted one random blessing every time 10 virtues were accumulated, as the name suggests. By the way, Basugu and Siptiaku are peers. Since Hydra had done a good deed by protecting Earthworm, Sejun gave him a slight privilege. Bibe. What? Sejun's sudden statement, like a bolt from the blue, shocked Basugu. Hithit. Sunfish Sejun Nim, thank you. Siptiaku expressed its gratitude. However, the atmosphere suddenly turned icy. The increase in stats allowed Siptiaku to communicate with Sejun, but that turned out to be its misfortune. Siptiaku, did you just call me Sunfish? Hithit. That was Basugu who. You're demoted to the youngest. Hithit. Without even a chance to explain, Siptiaku was demoted to the youngest. This is all your fault. As Siptiaku glared at Basugu, who had given him wrong handover instructions and was now feigning innocence. Crack. In the sky of Earthworm, surrounded by white snakes reproduced in Jormungandr's stomach, cracks appeared. Clang. The partially repaired defensive barrier, infused with the energy of creation emitted by the destruction devourers, was destroyed once again. Everyone over here. The party ate the bean set distributed by Sejun and resumed the battle, while the Earth Dragons also hurried back to join the battle. And then, everyone, let's plant quickly. Kaya. Sejun worked hard with the Destruction Pioneers, planting Destruction Devourer seeds. While defeating the white snakes was important. This was going to be a long battle. Until they could figure out a way to get Earthworm out from Jormungandr's stomach, they needed to hold out. And to hold out for a long time, they had to keep repairing Earthworm's defensive barrier with energy of creation. Kaying. Guys, let's help Butler. Blackie family also helped Sejun diligently plant the Destruction Devourer seeds. Although they didn't have farming skills like Sejun, and the seeds didn't immediately sprout Destruction Devourers the moment they were planted, it was still helpful. Just like the saying, even a dog recites poetry after 3 years at the village school, Blackie had perfectly mastered the basics of farming after spending 6 months with Sejun. Thus began hours of tedious battles in farming. However, Guard Park Thea has defeated the digestive cells of Jormungandr, the world-devouring serpent and third seat of the Apostle of Destruction. Intermediate herbalist Kyungi has. White Tower's honorary employee Ajax. You're a field LV. 9 has been activated. You have planted Destruction Devourer seeds in the body of Hydra, the 9-headed snake and 10th seat of the Apostles of Destruction. Hezeli. Sweet, so sweet. Thanks to the steadily accumulating experience points and the increasing number of Destruction Devourers, Sejun didn't feel bored at all. At that moment, bang! Grrr rule. A loud rumble came from Kyungi's stomach as he swung his thunder staff while fighting hard. It's already mealtime, huh? Land moving. Sejun quickly created a brazier and began cooking. Kyungi, let's eat. Since they still needed to eat, they took turns eating one at a time. After Kyungi, Ajax and Peacebees had eaten their fill. Vice Chairman Theo eat. It was now Theo's turn. Hut, I'm so happy, meow. Theo lay on Sejun's lap, looking happily at the grilled fish Sejun had prepared. Vice Chairman Theo, isn't it tiring? Sejun asked Theo, who looked up at him. Hut. It was a little tiring, but receiving the energy of great hybrid Chairman Park's lap has filled me with strength, meow. Theo responded energetically. Eat quickly. Hut, got it, meow. Pad pad. Sejun gently patted Theo's bottom as Theo ate the grilled fish. Hut, Chairman Park, I'll head back to fighting, meow. Theo hugged Sejun's lap tightly one last time before heading off to deal with the white snakes again. And then, you guys come over quickly too. Sejun called out 100 earth dragons at a time. Are you giving us some too? We can just eat dirt though. The earth dragons seemed puzzled. However, abundance. When Sejun used his power multiple times to upgrade the soil quality to the highest level. Wow, this is so delicious. The earth dragons began eating the soil excitedly. Earthworm had soil of the worst quality since it had not been maintained at all. While the earth dragons were enjoying the highest quality soil, a quest has been generated. Quest, feed the earth dragons, whose strength has weakened from eating the low nutrient, lowest quality soil, with high nutrient, highest quality soil to help them recover their strength. Reward, strengthening of power. Resilient young dragon solid bones, permission for Black Earth Dragon Toryong Park to stay. A quest appeared in front of Sejun. This time, without even needing to ask, Toryong's residency permission was included as a reward. Haha, what's so difficult about this? Of course I'll do it, abundance. Gulp gulp. Sejun diligently drank mugwort juice potions and activated his power. I'm overflowing with strength. The strength of the earth dragons who ate the highest quality soil surged significantly, making the battle even easier. Administrator area of the White Tower. Is Sejun doing well? Kellyan, who was anxiously awaiting news, murmured to himself. At that moment, Wuong defeated Hydra, the nine-headed snake and 10th seat of the Apostles of Destruction in Earthworm. The destruction of Earthworm has been delayed. The crystal orb vibrated, and an alert appeared. Excellent. As expected of Sejun. Kellyan sighed in relief as he saw the notification on the crystal orb. Earthworm is being restored with energy of creation. Earthworm has been restored to 55%. Earthworm has been restored to 56%. Additionally, notifications about Earthworm's restoration kept appearing. He'll probably be back soon. Kellyan completely let go of his worries. At that moment, Earthworm, located inside Jormungandr's stomach, is surrounded by the power of destruction. The power of destruction is severing the connection between Earthworm and the White Tower. The connection to Earthworm will be severed in 30 days. Another problem had arisen. What Earthworm is inside Jormungandr's stomach? Doesn't that mean both Ajax and Sejun are also inside Jormungandr's stomach? This is bad. If the connection between Earthworm and the White Tower is severed, Sejun and Ajax will have no way to return to the tower. Then they'll end up being digested. No, clan leaders, the great white dragon's hatchling is in danger. I request your help. Sejun is in danger too. Kellyan urgently sought help from the leaders of the other towers. The great dragons had a duty to help a hatchling in peril. As Kellyan requested assistance from the other dragons, Sejun Nim is in danger. Flamey, who sensed Sejun was in danger, also set out to help Sejun. Flamey Park dispatching. Flamey's roots that had climbed the tower like vines moved toward Jormungandr at the outskirts of destruction. Chapter 577. Oh, it's home. 99th floor of the Black Tower. I'll feed them quickly before Sejun arrives. Flamey once again seized the opportunity of Sejun's absence to visit the 99th floor of the tower. Flamey, welcome. Pottery greeted Flamey much more enthusiastically than usual. Flamey, hello. Next to Pottery was another tree. Oh, Sausage. It was Sausage who had been caught while attempting to escape from Sejun's farm. Flamey, Sausage tried to escape from Sejun's farm in secret. Pottery, who had been waiting for Flamey to arrive, immediately tattled on Sausage's misdeed. You tried to escape from Sejun's farm, Sausage. Is this what I taught you? I'm sorry. Flamey exploded in fury and scolded Sausage with fiery reprimands. And then, Pewha good. Watching Sausage getting scolded, Pottery was in a great mood. A little while later. There's no time, eat quickly. Yes. Understood. After finishing her scolding, Flamey began feeding nutrients to both Pottery and Sausage. If it were any other day, Pottery would have complained about feeling full after eating just a little. It's more bearable when eating with someone else. With a companion eating the nutrients alongside him, Pottery consumed the nutrients without any complaints. Nom. Sausage ate well too. Oh, Pottery, you're eating well today. Flamey looked on in satisfaction as Pottery ate properly without her nagging. Bzzing. Suddenly, Flamey felt a strong sense of foreboding. Oh, where is it? Flamey quickly sharpened her senses. Sejun. At the end of her heightened senses was Sejun. Flamey had cast a tree spell on Sejun when they went on vacation, so that she would know if he was in danger. Sejun is in danger. I won't let anything that threatens Sejun get away with it. Flamey hurriedly moved her roots. Outskirts of destruction. Bang. Just a little more. Bang. Almost there. Jormungandr was desperately struggling to break through his barrier and ascend to the next level of power. Originally, he had planned to break through the barrier in one go, using the tremendous power he gained by absorbing the remaining strength of the Hydra and the Earthworm. I need to break through this barrier right now. Unlike his usual lazy appearance, he became impatient due to the dragons approaching him while frantically shooting breaths toward destruction. With his current strength, he wouldn't lose as easily as before, but the damage was already severe. And if he were to die, this time destruction wouldn't revive him, making it even more critical. As Jormungandr struggled to break through the barrier with all his might. Crunch! What the hell is that now? Whoosh! From afar, a massive tree root slowly approached, burning the dust of destruction in its path. The intense, murderous intent radiating from the root was far more dreadful than that of the dragons and made it clear it wasn't on his side. If that thing arrives, there's no way I can win. Jormungandr grew even more desperate. Please. With a desperate heart, he pushed his energy harder, attempting to break through the barrier. Boom. Boom. Even with his increased desperation, the wall of the barrier wouldn't budge. And then, there was a different sensation this time, and Jormungandr felt a faint crack forming in the barrier. It's working. Seeing a glimmer of hope, Jormungandr doubled down on his effort to break through the barrier. Boom! Finally, the barrier wall broke apart. Kukuku, finally I too. Crack! Jormungandr's eyes glowed red, and his body began to grow rapidly. Of course, it wasn't just his body that expanded. Breaking through the barrier meant transcending his limits. Having already reached the absolute final stage of his kind, Jormungandr transcended once more, surpassing even the limits of his species. Crack! A horn sprouted from Jormungandr's head. I am now Jormungandr, the greed that devours the world. Having ascended to a higher state, Jormungandr roared as he proclaimed his new name. His overwhelming presence dominated the surroundings. Wherever Jormungandr's presence reached, his greed began to sap the strength of those within range. Our power is being drained. Retreat! The mighty dragons hurriedly withdrew from Jormungandr's area of influence. The enemy will only grow stronger in this state. Flamey also quickly withdrew her roots and began encircling Jormungandr with them. Inside Jormungandr's stomach, Sejun, who had been eating meals and planting the destruction devourer seeds, noticed a change. At that moment, the white snakes that were digestive cells grew horns on their heads and became stronger. Meow. Of course, they still weren't a match for Sejun and his group. Guard Park Thea has defeated the digestive cells of Jormungandr, the greed that devours the world and third seat of the Apostle of Destruction. You've gained 1 million experience points, 50% of the experience points earned by Guard Park Theo. Experience points increased. While the snakes had grown stronger, the experience points gained from defeating them had doubled. Haha, this is totally sweet. Sejun smiled contentedly as he observed the increased experience points. The outside world might have been a hellish battlefield, but inside this hellish stomach, it was a paradise. 3 days passed like this. Thump thump. The energy of creation overflowed into Earthworm, strengthening the defensive walls so much that the white snakes could no longer easily breach them. Hey everyone, time to eat. Hut good meow. Kyung. Kaying. Yes Hyung. Thanks to this, Sejun and his group now had the leisure to gather for breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. Pipu. Siptiagu water. Bibe. Siptiagu milk. Pipu. Siptiagu refill. Of course, the youngest, Siptiagu, was kept busy running errands for Mukpupil and Bisugu. A little while later, after lunch was over, Kyung. Dad, here's your coffee. Yes, thank you. Slurp. Sejun sipped the coffee that Kyungi had prepared for him. Hut, even I, Vice Chairman Theo, also drink coffee meow, Chiru coffee meow. Kyuehe Kyung. Hehe, Kyungi drinks choco milk coffee. Kilahit Kaying. Hee Kyungi Hyung, thanks for making me sweet potato milk coffee. Yuehe, I've got tomato juice coffee with honey. Following Sejun's example, the others each grabbed their own version of coffee and settled themselves around Sejun. Q meow. Q. K. Kaya. After taking a big sip of their coffee, they all mimicked the sound Sejun made. They enjoyed their coffee time together. Purr. Gororong. Kirorong. Kirorong. Arorong. After taking a nap, Sejun and his group started their afternoon work again. The afternoon tasks weren't anything special. Theo, Kyungi, and Ajax patrolled alongside the Earth Dragons around Earthworm, defeating white snakes that tried to breach the defensive walls. You're a field. LV. 9 has been activated. You've planted a destruction devourer seed in the body of Hydra, the 9-headed snake and 10th seed of the Apostles of Destruction. Sejun continued planting seeds. When he ran out of destruction devourer seeds, he planted other seeds or harvested the fruits from crops he had already planted. It was almost no different from the life he had back in the Black Tower. If there was one thing he missed, it was the lack of conversations with Aileen. It's been so long since I last talked to Aileen. I really want to talk to her. As Sejun missed conversations with Aileen. Since I'm feeling down, I should eat something spicy for dinner tonight. Plug. He began harvesting well-ripened peppers. At that moment, you have harvested a Xinjiang chili pepper of calmness. You're a field, LV. 9 has been activated, inflicting additional damage. You're a field, LV. 9 has been activated, harvesting the stats of Hydra, the 9-headed snake and 10th seed of the Apostles of Destruction. Strength plus 10, Stamina plus 12, Agility plus 15, magic power +5. Stat harvesting was triggered. Hydra had weakened, so not many stats were harvested. Thus, Sejun continued harvesting chili peppers. You've defeated Hydra, the nine-headed snake and 10th seed of the Apostles of Destruction, who has been weakened and lost his soul. You have gained 430 billion experience points. You have leveled up. You have obtained 1 bonus stat point. Strength increases by 30. Strength potential increases by 1%. Hydra's body disappeared as its life force ran out. And then a job quest has been triggered. Job quest: improve the soil quality of 3.3 million square meters of land to the highest grade. Land with top grade soil, 0.330000 square meters. Reward: level 151 unlocked, 100 billion tower coins, all stats +300. Sejun received a job quest upon reaching level 150. This is easy. The quest was nothing more than what Sejun did every day while feeding the earth dragons, so it wasn't difficult for him. Each time he fed the earth dragons, he improved about 660,000 square meters of land to top-grade soil. As time passed, Pew Hut, time to clock out for the day, meow. Starting with Theo, Kyungi and Ajax returned to Sejun, clinging to his lap and sides. Together they had dinner and fell asleep. Late at night. Pip pip, good night everyone. Peacebees woke up, ate the fruit lunchbox Sejun had prepared, and flew around Earthworm skis on patrol to check for any breaches by the white snakes. Pip pip, all clear. After completing its patrol. Pip pip. Whoosh. Peacebees quickly flew and created a dimensional gate. However, since they were inside Jormungandr's stomach, the dimensional gate attempts kept failing. Pip pip, I won't give up. Sejun Nim wants to see Aileen Nim. Peacebees refused to give up. Whoosh. It kept trying to open the dimensional gate. Pip pip, success. When a familiar location came into view, it cheered in excitement. Sejun Nim, I did it. Peacebees returned through the dimensional gate to Earthworm and informed Sejun. Oh, it's home. Sejun led his companions through the dimensional gate and returned to the 99th floor of the Black Tower. Finally, they slept at home. The next morning. All right. When Sejun opened his eyes, the tower's administrator asks in a happy voice when you returned. The tower's administrator says tearfully that she thought she would never see you again after Earthworm was eaten by Jormungandr. The tower's administrator. The tower's administrator. Aileen, who had been waiting for Sejun to wake up, bombarded him with rapid-fire words. Aileen calmed down. Sejun soothed Aileen and continued the conversation. Really, Jormungandr got stronger. So that's why the digestive cells got stronger too. The tower's administrator says that's right. The tower's administrator says that's why the grandfathers were making plans to rescue you and Ajax Oppa. Does Kelly and Nim know Ajax is back too? The tower's administrator says he doesn't know yet. Really? Then let him know quickly. Given how much Kellyan loves his grandson, he must be out of his mind right now. The tower's administrator says she will. The tower's administrator says she'll be back quickly after telling him, so don't go anywhere. Okay, got it. After answering Aileen. Has Aileen? Since Aileen told him not to go anywhere, Sejun stayed in bed, wiggling his toes under the blanket and relaxing. This is nice. In his arms were Theo, Kyungi, the Blackie family, and Ajax, all held tightly. As Sejun was enjoying his healing morning time. Sejun, are you hurt anywhere? My grandson, are you okay? Ago, Sejun, you're alive. Such a relief that both Sejun and Ajax are safe. The dragons of the 4 Dragon Council, informed by Aileen of Sejun and Ajax's return, stormed into Sejun's bedroom. The dragons thoroughly inspected Sejun and his companions, checking every corner of their bodies to ensure there were no injuries. Once they confirmed that nothing was amiss, they hurriedly left. They needed to inform the other dragons of Sejun and Ajax's safe return and prepare countermeasures against the suddenly strengthened Jormungandr. After the dragons departed, Kyuwang, Kyuwang, it's Mom. Even Pinkfur came by to check on the condition of Sejun and Kyuwangi before leaving. Once all the parents' visits were over, I'm hungry. Sejun and his companions ate breakfast. And then, Aileen will be back. Hut, Aileen Nuna will be back, meow. The tower's administrator tells you to be careful. With Aileen sending them off, Sejun, his companions, and Peacebees used the dimensional gate to head back to Earthworm for work. As Sejun spent fulfilling days in Earthworm, defeating white snakes to gain experience, farming, and completing quests. Why can't I digest it yet? I can't eat anything else because of this. Jormungandr had indigestion and couldn't swallow anything. Chapter 578, That's Possible. Inside Jormungandr's stomach, Earthworm. Bararong. Oh my, Peacebees is sleeping, so we need to shield him from the sun. Kyuwangi, where's Peacebees? Kyuwang. On Dad's left arm. Really? Russell. After hearing Kyuwangi's words, Sejun felt along his left arm. Ah, there you are. Carefully grabbing the sleeping, camouflaged Peacebees, he gently lifted the straw hat he was wearing and placed Peacebees softly on his head before putting the hat back on. It was VIP treatment for Peacebees, who had saved everyone by creating a dimensional gate. And then, abundance. In a low voice, careful not to wake Peacebees, Sejun used his power to raise the soil quality to the highest grade, allowing the earth dragons to feed on the soil. My Peacebees is sleeping, so eat quietly, all right. Of course, he didn't forget to warn the earth dragons, as Sejun gave VIP treatment only to Peacebees. Meow. I don't like this, meow. A certain being was clearly displeased. It was Theo, who was barely containing his temper since he at least hadn't lost the most important spot, the lap. At times like this, I need to show my worth through my skills, meow. As Theo burned with determination to receive VIP treatment from Sejun. Swoosh. Meow. Pababek. He quickly dealt with the white snakes invading Earthworm. 3 minutes later. Hut, Great Hybrid Chairman Park, I worked hard, meow. Vice Chairman Theo wants VIP treatment too, meow. Looking triumphant, Theo climbed onto Sejun's lap and lay down on his back. All right, good job, want some churu? When Sejun stroked Theo's head and offered him churu. Yes, meow. Slurp, slurp. Theo eagerly licked at the churu with his tongue. Hut, VIP treatment is the best, meow. Though there was nothing different from usual, Theo was delighted just by the notion of VIP treatment. It wasn't that he was insatiable, it was that he was too easily satisfied, making him a easy cat, Park Theo. Of course, he was only a easy cat when it came to Sejun. Sejun spent the morning inside Earthworm, feeding the earth dragons and planting destruction devourer seeds. And when lunchtime arrived, all right guys, eat up, we're heading back. After creating the highest grade soil with his power to feed the earth dragons, Sejun used the dimensional gate to return to the 99th floor of the Black Tower for lunch. Sejun Hyung, I'm heading home for a bit. I think I need to rest. Ajax said with sleepy eyes that he was forcing to stay open. All right, go back and get some rest. Also, say hi to Kelly and Nim too. Okay, Hyung, I'll only sleep for one night, just one night. Feeling guilty about leaving to sleep alone, Ajax emphasized one night to Sejun. All right, go ahead, Ajax. With Sejun's permission, Ajax was reverse summoned back to the White Tower. And then, Kelly and him, Ajax just went back. Even if he asks to be woken up, please don't wake him. Sejun made a request to Kellyan not to wake Ajax. He was still young, and growing children needed plenty of sleep. After sending Ajax off, Sejun was having lunch when brother-in-law. A black dragon statue controlled by Ace quickly flew over. Brother-in-law, welcome back. I thought I'd never see you again, sniff. Ace was on the verge of tears. Sejun quietly placed a piece of yongari chicken into the mouth of the black dragon statue. He had anticipated Ace's arrival and had already prepared yongari chicken. Puahiti. Ace, upon seeing the yongari chicken, began to laugh. At that moment, "Brother-in-law, my sister's coming, see you next time." Ace hurriedly left the scene. After Ace disappeared, "Kyung, Dad, here's your coffee." Sejun drank the coffee Kyungi had brewed for him and started his afternoon work. In the afternoon, he stopped by the 10th tower to replenish the destruction devourer seeds he was running low on and returned to Earthworm. Then it was back to planting seeds once again. Thanks to the rapid increase in the number of destruction devourers and the overflowing energy of creation within Earthworm, other changes began to appear. The soil quality improved, and although Sejun didn't notice it, the size of Earthworm also grew little by little. Puhu Hut, Great Hybrid Chairman Park, I worked hard, meow. Give me VIP treatment, meow. Kuehe Kyung Kyung. Haha, Kyungi worked too. Kyungi wants VIP treatment too. Theo and Kyungi would work once in between and request VIP treatment from Sejun, who was planting seeds. VIP treatment, at most, involved lying on Sejun's lap while being fed churu, getting petted by Sejun while dipping garitiak in kudzu honey, and other activities that weren't too different from their usual routine. Kilahit Kaying. Hee Butler, Great Blackie wants VIP treatment too. Of course, there was also the Blackie family, who didn't do any work but still wanted VIP treatment. That won't do, meow. You have to work to get VIP treatment, meow. Kyung. If you want VIP treatment, you have to work. They were immediately cut off by their older brothers. Kaying. Great Blackie also wants VIP treatment. As Blackie sulked, Blackie, plant 100 seeds and come back, then I'll give you VIP treatment. Sejun gave Blackie a glimmer of hope. Kilahit Kaying. Hee, got it, Butler, just wait a little. Great Blackie will go plant them quickly. Duh. Blackie family hurriedly ran off, planted 100 seeds, and returned to receive VIP treatment, eating roasted and dried sweet potatoes from the sling bag. Like that, Sejun alternated between farming and playing with his companions throughout the day, and when evening came, abundance. Sejun used his power once more to create the highest grade soil for the earth dragons to eat. That was quick. Thanks to the energy of creation, the soil quality improved rapidly, and even without using his power multiple times, the soil had already reached the highest grade. Should I do a bit more? Abundance. Thinking about finishing job quest today, Sejun pushed himself a little and used his power again while sipping mugwort juice potion. A short while later, you have upgraded the soil quality of 3.3 million square meters of land to the highest grade. You have completed the job quest. As the job quest was completed, a reward message appeared. It stated that level 151 was unlocked, 100 billion tower coins were obtained, and all stats increased by 300. Alright, enjoy your meal, guys, let's. Just as Sejun was about to leave the Earth Dragons, enjoying the highest grade soil and return to the 99th floor of the Black Tower, all Earth Dragons in Earthworm have regained their strength. You have completed the quest. As a reward for completing the quest, the option for power, Resilient Young Dragon Solid Bones, has been enhanced. As a reward for completing the quest, the Black Earth Dragon Park Toryong stay in Earthworm is permitted. Another quest completion message appeared. And then the Black Earth Dragon Park Toryong is being summoned. Toryong was summoned to Earthworm. At that moment, the Earth Devourer. The troublemaker is back. The Earth Dragons recognized Toryong. Judging by their reactions and the title, it didn't seem like they were particularly happy to see him. What's this? Do they dislike our Toryong? As Sejun worried about Toryong. No, our piece is over. We're going to get beaten up every day now. The Earth Dragons were visibly terrified at the sight of Toryong. "Hey guys, it's been a while." Toryong greeted the Earth Dragons warmly. The tyrant of Earthworm had returned. 1,000 years ago. "Will you follow me to the Black Tower?" The great black dragon had made the suggestion to Toryong, who had grown bored of Earthworm since there were no more opponents to fight. Without hesitation, Toryong left Earthworm and climbed the Black Tower, battling strong opponents along the way. The day he finally reached the 99th floor of the tower. "Hello, I'm Toonie, the farmer of the Black Tower. That's where I planted my seeds, so please don't step on it, okay?" Toryong encountered a farmer on the 99th floor. "Seeds? Why would you plant seeds?" "Because if you plant one seed, you can eat a lot of delicious things later." The guinea pig Toonie, with chubby cheeks, answered happily to the question. "Really? Then I'll help you, but you have to give me something to eat too." "Sure, sounds good." It was probably around that time that fighting stopped being fun. After that, he teamed up with Toonie and became an assistant to the Black Tower's tower farmer, working together on farming and enjoying a joyful life. Toonie was strong and skilled in farming. However, "I'm sorry, I think it's time for me to rest now. I'll leave the farm in your care." "All right, leave it to me." The time allotted to Toonie was far too short compared to himself. After parting with Toonie like that, "Hello, I'm the new Black Tower's tower farmer." To honor the promise he made to Toonie, Park Toryong spent hundreds of years as an assistant to various tower farmers, farming together with them. But at some point, the great black dragon stopped appointing tower farmers for the Black Tower. Growing tired of waiting for the next tower farmer, he fell into a deep slumber. After sleeping for about 200 years, the next person he met was Sejun. "He's too weak, he'll die quickly too." Looking at Sejun reminded him of Toonie. And he thought, does he think just anyone can become a tower farmer? So to make Sejun quit being a tower farmer, he tried to intimidate him, but he was defeated by Kyungi, who was by Sejun's side. Then, "I even came up with an awesome name for you, aren't you curious?" "My name?" "Yes, how about Toryong? On Earth, Yang means the same as dragon. Yang here means Eastern Asian Chinese dragon." Accepting the name Toryong, he once again became an assistant to a tower farmer. Afterward, watching Sejun's achievements, Toryong realized that strength wasn't everything. Sejun had a unique quality that couldn't be measured by strength, a brilliance that no one else could see. The problem was that it couldn't be seen, but staying by Sejun's side allowed him to feel it. In short, you can't treat Sejun carelessly just because he's weak, do you understand? "Yes." "We didn't even think of doing that." At Toryong's words, the Earth Dragons shouted their responses fearfully. And just like that, Park Toryong swiftly gained control over the Earth Dragons. "First, I'll teach you how to till the soil and make fields." He began teaching the Earth Dragons how to farm. Earthworm was mostly flat, making it an easy land for farming. Expanding the farm quickly was a great way to increase Sejun's experience points. The next day, "Guys, good morning, huh?" When Sejun arrived at Earthworm for work, he was greeted by the sight of a vast, well-organized farm spanning several millions of square meters. It was the result of Toryong instructing the Earth Dragons to work through the night. Kwek. Kwek. Thanks to this, the farming scale had grown massively, and even the mushroom ants had to cross over to Earthworm to help with farming. Like that, everyone worked together to increase the size of the farm, and you have created a 33,000 square meters cherry tomato field. You have gained 30,000 experience points. You have created a 33,000 square meters green onion field. You have gained 30,000 experience points. Sejun's experience points soared rapidly. Because it wasn't within the tower, the crops planted were normal, but since they were grown by Sejun, they grew quickly and tasted excellent. Creator God's Temple. "Should I say I caught it?" the Creator God muttered as he observed Earthworm. The Apostles of Destruction had certainly taken his bait. Thanks to this, they had managed to defeat the Hydra. However, no matter how he looked at it, Jormungandr didn't appear to be the captured prey. Earthworm was inside Jormungandr's stomach, after all. There was no way to catch a fish that had taken the bait. At least Sejun is doing a good job keeping things in check. But as it stood now, defeating Jormungandr was impossible. Love you. Is there no solution? The creator god pondered deeply. At that moment, Earthworm began to undergo changes. And then, this can't be. That's possible. The creator god was greatly shocked by this unprecedented situation never heard of before. Earthworm's level is increasing. Because Earthworm was evolving into a level 11 world. Chapter 579, such low levels. Jormungandr's stomach. SHHK. SHHK. The white snakes, which were digestive cells, had completely surrounded the earthworm without leaving any gaps. Thud, thud, thud. With their sharp teeth and pointed horns protruding from their foreheads, they attacked, trying to break through Earthworm's defensive barrier. After a prolonged assault, crack, a fracture appeared in a part of the barrier, which had accumulated damage. Clang! As the barrier shattered, white snakes began to fall from the sky of Earthworm. And then, Pew-hut, it's work time, meow. Q-ha Kyung. Haha, Kyungi can now get VIP treatment. Killahit Kaying. He go Hyungs. The white snakes were annihilated by Theo and Kyungi, who had been eagerly waiting for work to receive Sejun's VIP treatment. It was the Theo, Kyungi, and Blackie family, fully immersed in the VIP treatment game. Swoosh! While Theo and Kyungi were taking care of the white snakes, the energy of creation seeped into the damaged defensive barrier, reinforcing it to become thicker and sturdier. After the brief battle that didn't even last a minute. Pew-hut, Great Hybrid Chairman Park, we finished working, meow. Give us the VIP treatment, meow. Q-ha Kyung. Haha, give Kyungi the VIP treatment. Theo and Kyungi clung to Sejun, who was farming, demanding their VIP treatment. Killahit Kaying. Butler, Great Blackie also needs VIP treatment. Even Blackie, who came running hard to catch up, joined in. But Blackie didn't work, did you? You have to work to get the VIP treatment. Sejun, with his right hand, fed Theo a churu as Theo lay flat on his lap, while his left hand petted Kyungi, who was dipping Garitiok into kudzu honey and eating. Sejun teased Blackie. At that, Kaying. Great Blackie cheered for his Hyungs, very hard, so he deserves the VIP treatment. Blackie, the self-proclaimed cheerleading captain, confidently barked, claiming that cheering was also work. All right. Sejun lifted Blackie into the sling bag and put a piece of roasted and dried sweet potato into his mouth. Pew-hut. Q-ha. Killahit. Such adorable little ones. While Sejun was playing with his companions under the pretense of VIP treatment. Why does the world look blue? The surroundings started to appear blue. No, they had been like this for a while, but the color became more intense, allowing Sejun to clearly perceive the blue. It was because the energy of creation produced by the destruction devourers was being trapped inside Earthworm, surrounded by the white snakes, and couldn't escape, causing its concentration to increase. Is it too much? Guys, let's. As Sejun was about to store the destruction devourers into the void storage, a quest has been generated. Quest Earthworm has reached a stage that no world has ever achieved. Produce more energy of creation and evolve Earthworm into a level 11 world. Reward, all stats plus 1000, 500 billion tower coins, primordial spark. A quest message appeared. Oh, the rewards are great. All stats plus 1000 and 500 billion tower coins. He wasn't sure what the primordial spark was, but it must be something good. Completely captivated by the rewards, Sejun exclaimed. Guys, let's eat more. Kiki. Encouraging the destruction devourers, he made them absorb the energy of destruction. The energy of destruction was being emitted in massive amounts from Delia's body and the corpses of the white snakes, so there was no shortage of food. Gulp, gulp, gulp. While the destruction devourers diligently absorbed the energy of destruction, as instructed by Sejun. 222. Sejun planted the seeds spat out by the destruction devourers to increase their numbers. After about 3 hours had passed, the atmosphere within Earthworm became an even deeper shade of blue. The white snakes began to tie their bodies together to constrict Earthworm, trying to contain its growing size. This was because Earthworm's expansion was worsening Jormungandr's indigestion. Thanks to the pressure exerted by the white snakes, Earthworm was unable to expand and began to slowly heat up, setting all the conditions perfectly. Just as carbon requires high heat and pressure to transform into diamonds, Earthworm also needed intense pressure and heat to become an unprecedented level 11 world. The temperature and pressure began to rise rapidly. Kyung, Dad is in danger. Sensing the crisis, Kyungi hurriedly enlarged his body and wrapped it around Sejun and his companions to shield them. 1 second later, flash, an intensely bright blue light exploded, sweeping across the surroundings. While the Earth Dragon remained unaffected by the light, the crops planted by Sejun turned to dust and crumbled, as did the destruction devourers. Earthworm, in its effort to be reborn as a new world, burned away all impurities and absorbed them as its nourishment. Fortunately, the light dared not touch Kyungi and Sejun's companions, who were surrounded by a crimson-black energy emitted by Kyungi for protection. Thus, Earthworm eliminated most of its impurities. As the light faded, Kyungi reduced his body size once again. Kyungi, thank you. Sejun didn't know exactly what had happened, but he understood that Kyungi had tried to protect him, so he patted Kyungi's head with gratitude. But where did everything go? Realizing that the crops he had planted and the destruction devourers had disappeared, Sejun grew puzzled. At that moment, rumble! Earthworm began its full-fledged evolution, causing the entire land to rise. Its size explosively increased, growing to 10 times its previous size in an instant. As a result, the white snakes, which had tried to stop Earthworm's expansion by entangling their bodies around it, were all torn apart and killed. You have defeated the digestive cells of Jormungandr, the greed that devours the world and third seed of the Apostle of Destruction. A massive amount of experience points poured into Sejun. You have leveled up. I leveled up 7 times in one go. While Sejun, now level 157, celebrated with joy. Pew Hut, Great Hybrid Chairman Park Vice Chairman Theo leveled up and I am now level 100 meow. I got a job quest meow. Let's complete it together meow. Kyung. Hehe, Dad, Kyungi also leveled up to 100 and got a job quest. Kyungi wants to do the quest with you too. Theo and Kyungi, having leveled up to 100, received their job quests. And then, Kilahit Kaying. Butler, we also became level 2. Blackie family had leveled up to level 2. It seemed everyone in the group had received their fair share of experience points, not just Sejun. Such low levels. Sejun smirked, mocking his companions with an air of superiority. But thinking about it carefully, it wasn't something to be smug about. Everyone had received the same amount of experience, yet Theo, Kyungi and Blackie family had only gained 1 level, while Sejun had gained 7. And this was despite them being in lower level ranges, where leveling up should have been easier. The fact that Sejun leveled up quickly wasn't necessarily a good thing. As the saying goes, the deeper the valley, the higher the mountain. His companions gained far more stats per level up compared to Sejun. And unlike Sejun, who received a job quest every 10 levels, his companions received job quests far less frequently. For instance, Theo and Kyungi received their first job quest at level 100. And as former apostles of destruction, Blackie family might receive their job quests at much higher levels, or perhaps not at all. Hazeli, while Sejun was rejoicing without knowing this earthworm, has successfully evolved into a level 11 world. Quest completed. As a reward for completing the quest, all your stats have increased by 1,000. As a reward for completing the quest, you have received 500 billion tower coins. As a reward for completing the quest, you have obtained the primordial spark. The primordial spark has attached itself to the title, One Who Glimpsed the Beginning, and is now burning brightly. Title, One Who Glimpsed the Beginning, has been transformed by the primordial spark and has been reborn as title, One Who Glimpsed Long into the Beginning. Along with the quest completion message, Sejun received his rewards. What the? One who glimpsed long into the beginning. Sejun felt strangely insulted, as if he had been labeled sneaky, and it left a bad taste in his mouth. Can't I just look? I'm supposed to be a bold person. Sejun grumbled as he checked his title, One Who Glimpsed Long into the Beginning. By glimpsing deeply into a fragment of the beginning, which exists beyond the realm of cognition, you have gained insight. Within the limits allowed, you can perceive and reconstruct the essence of things. You can combine similar titles into one. You can merge multiple powers into one, strengthening them. If you receive a reward that is excessive and beyond your capacity, you can subtly twist causality to receive the best possible reward. Except for the first sentence, the rest of the description was merely an explanation of what had happened in the past. Moreover, there were still contents that remained unrevealed. Still, one thing was certain. This title was far more remarkable than Sejun had initially thought. Merging powers and titles and twisting causality to alter rewards were not tasks easily accomplished without directly interfering with the system. Perhaps the key to the system's impeachment that Theo had been longing for might lie with Sejun. While Sejun was checking his title, what's this? I feel overflowing with strength. The Earth Dragons, checking their own conditions, were elated with joy. With Earthworm evolving into a level 11 world, the Earth Dragons had also evolved to match the new world, becoming beings fit for a level 11 world. You are now bestowed with a status befitting the ruler of Earthworm. You will evolve into a demigod. Once a month for 1 hour, your soul can visit the realm where the gods reside. I've become a demigod. Moreover, Toryong, upon ascending to the rank of a demigod, gained the ability to visit the realm of the gods for a short time. Now, I can directly deliver Sejun Nim's words to the gods. Toryong, who had always felt regretful for not being much help to Sejun, was delighted with his newfound ability. At that moment, there are 5 places you can visit. Seed Shop Headquarters, Combat Shop Headquarters, Hell's Pawn Shop. For the next 5 months, you will be forced to visit these 5 places in order. The ability was being used as a guided tour to determine where the demigod Toryong would belong in the future. Your soul is moving to the Seed Shop Headquarters. Demigod Toryong's soul arrived at the Seed Shop Headquarters. Seed Shop Headquarters, Demigod Earth Dragon, Park Toryong, Guardian of Black Tower's Tower Farmer Park Sejun, has visited to determine their future path. Trustin Park's Guardian. Then that means a subordinate of Trustin Park. While the non-combat gods were stunned by the message, a small earthworm appeared in the central plaza of the Seed Shop Headquarters. Hello, my name is Park Toryong. It was Toryong's soul. When Toryong greeted them, Welcome Park Toryong Nim, please come in. Welcome. The non-combat gods enthusiastically welcomed Toryong. Park Toryong Nim, I will guide you. Among the non-combat gods, Uncle, the god of grapevines, stepped forward as the representative, carefully lifting Toryong with both hands and escorting him to the finest building in the Seed Shop Headquarters. Once inside the building, then I shall explain the Seed Shop Headquarters. Lee began introducing the seed shop headquarters to Toryang in a nervous voice. Toryang was one of Sejun's closest companions. Whatever was discussed today would likely be relayed to Sejun, so it was natural for Lee to feel tense. 50 minutes later. That concludes the explanation. Good, perfect. As Lee finished her introduction to the seed shop headquarters. Clatter, clatter, clatter. The non-combat gods who had been waiting for Lee to finish swarmed around Toryang. I am Plum, the god of plums. Please tell Trustin Park my name. Hee, I'm Pear, the god of pears. Please make sure to tell Trustin Park my na. They wanted their names to be known to Sejun. At that moment, how could you make Toryang feel so uncomfortable? Order, the god of order, strode over and lifted Toryang, who was surrounded by non-combat gods, onto his shoulder. Toryang, I'm sorry, our folks aren't usually like this. Order apologized to Toryang and quickly exited the building. And then, good, no one else is around. After confirming, there were no other non-combat gods nearby. Order. Yes. My name is Order, the god of order. Order quietly revealed his name to Toryang. Chapter 580, We Must Save Jormungandr. 99th floor of the Black Tower. Thud. Flamey, who had been surrounding Jormungandr with roots, came to feed nutrients to Pottery and Sausage. Everyone hurry and eat, especially Sausage. Today you're absolutely becoming a world tree. Flamey rushed the two. Sejun Nim, just hold on a little longer. Only 195 trees to go. Flamey was in a hurry to cultivate 1,000 world trees to pass the second trial to become the Tree of Creation. Her plan was to power up with the trial's reward, cleanly deal with Jormungandr, and save Sejun. What? Of course, Sausage was horrified at Flamey's words. At that moment, Flamey Nim calmed down. Sejun Nim is safe. In fact, these days he's commuting to work from here. Your Hyung just saved you. Pottery, knowing why Flamey was in such a rush, stepped in to rescue Sausage. What commuting, really? Yes, look over there. Pottery pointed with a branch to the dimensional gate connected to Earthworm. Oh, it's true. Phew, that's a relief. Flamey sighed in relief as she looked at the dimensional gate connected to Earthworm. Right, so, you need to hurry back before Sejun Nim finishes work. Yes, that's right, you must hurry back. Not wanting to eat the nutrients, Pottery and Sausage used Sejun as an excuse to try to send Flamey away. However, oh, it's fine. Today, Sejun Nim said he's sleeping over at Earthworm. Flamey, somehow having heard that Sejun would be staying overnight at Earthworm, dismissed their excuse. And then, what, that's... how could that? A new world tree has grown in Earthworm, so now I can access its information. That means we have plenty of time. Come on, eat the nutrients diligently. The two were in danger of having to eat nutrients all night from Flamey. Earthworm, our poor devourers. Kaying, Great Blackie subordinates. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you. Sejun and Blackie grieved, realizing that the destruction devourers had perished, swept away in Earthworm's evolution. At that moment, Gugagung, Kiki, along with a faint vibration, the loud and resonant sound of destruction devourers could be heard from afar. Kugung, Kiki. The vibration grew stronger, and the sound drew closer. These are the voices of our devourers. Realizing the cries were from the destruction devourers, Sejun and his companions ran toward the source. Kiki, Sejun Nim, I've become a world tree. A destruction devourer who had grown gigantic enough to reach the sky greeted Sejun while waving its massive branches. Earthworm, upon evolving to level 11, had united the will of the destruction devourers, transforming them into a single world tree. This was a gesture of gratitude for helping it become an 11-level world. Congratulations. Pew Hut, congratulations on becoming a world tree, meow. Kuehe Kuang. Hehe, congratulations. Kilahit Kaying. He, my subordinate, congratulations. Sejun and his companions celebrated the destruction devourer that had become a world tree. And then, I'll give you a special gift, a name. On such a joyous day, a day of rebirth, a name was essential. Thus, the Sejun naming shop opened for business. Earthworm World Tree, Destruction Devourer, Devourer. Sejun pondered the traits of the Destruction Devourer, reborn as a world tree. As various traits swirled around in his mind, they coalesced into a single word. Since it's the world tree of Earthworm and a devourer, Iasipo, TL, Koasepoinus. Iasipo is combination of Hangul ko aninus from ko asuamenus, earthworm plus koseinus from koseikiesuenus, world tree plus ko pauinus from ko pasihienus, devourer. Kivihit. As expected of a genius namer. Kurug. As Blackie family rejoiced at Sejun's naming, the effect of talent, namer has been activated. The name Iasipo is imbued with a special effect. World Tree Special Skill, Seed Cannon has been acquired. A special effect was imbued in the name. Seed Cannon. Kiki. It's shot like this. Iasipo raised its head toward the now darkened sky. Tui. It spat out a seed from its mouth, demonstrating for Sejun. The seed fired from Iasipo's mouth traveled like a cannonball, rapidly reaching the edge of the sky. Swish. A barrier opened to allow the seed to pass. And then, boom! The explosion struck against Jormungandr's stomach wall. Oh, it's like a fireworks show. Beyond the open barrier, Sejun could see colorful sparks scattering vividly. Kiki. Then should I shoot more? Tui. Excited by Sejun's positive reaction, Iasipo enthusiastically fired the seed cannon again. Boom! The fireworks scattered once more. Thanks to that, an impromptu fireworks display began. Let's sleep here tonight. Sejun, preparing dinner, also set up a place to sleep. As Sejun's gloom over losing the destruction devourers began to lift. Puhu Hut, Great Hybrid Chairman Parkai, Vice Chairman Theo's job quest is to earn 100 trillion tower coins, meow. Let's go get it, meow. Kuehe Kuang. Hehe, Dad, Kuangi's job quest is to cultivate 5 new types of herbs. Let's go find medicinal herbs together with Kuangi. Theo and Kuangi, who had been watching Sejun's mood, suggested doing job quests together. All right, once we've completely saved Earthworm, let's do it together. Puhu Hut got it, meow. Kuehe Kuang. Hehe, understood. And then, Kilahit Kaying. He, Butler. Great Blackie's job quest is to eat 100 roasted sweet potatoes. You'll help me, right? Blackie, too, tried to ride along with his older siblings, but Blackie, who told you to lie? I told you lying is bad. No roasted and dried sweet potatoes for you for a week. Kaying. No way. Instead, Blackie got caught and was punished by Sejun. As a result, Blackie's dinner wasn't roasted and dried sweet potatoes but plain garitiok, the same as Kuangi's. Chomp. Of course the garitiok were tasty, but something's missing. They couldn't replace his soul food, roasted and dried sweet potatoes. While everyone was eating dinner. Sejun Nim, I've become a demigod. A demigod? Yes. Toryang, who had returned after touring the seed shop headquarters, reported his current state and shared what he saw and heard at the headquarters with Sejun. Really? So the god of Plum's name is Plum, and the god of order is someone named Order. Sejun confirmed the names of about 10 gods he had heard from Toryang. I should erect an achievement monument for them later when we return. After Toryang finished his story. You must be hungry, Toryang. Hurry and eat, abundance. Sejun used his power to elevate the soil quality to the highest grade. With Earthworm becoming an 11-level world, the basic soil quality had improved significantly, so a single use of his power could make the soil top grade. Yes, thank you for the meal. Tug tug. Toriang eagerly dug into the soil and burrowed underground. A short while later, after dinner was finished. Ah, that was satisfying. Hut, I'm full, meow. Kueha kuang. Haha, it was delicious. Kaying. My stomach's full, but something's missing. Theo, Kyungi, and Blackie clung to Sejun, who was patting his belly. And then, Yasipo, let's have a fireworks show. Yes. Boom boom. While watching the fireworks created by Yasipo's seed cannon, Sejun and his companions enjoyed a moment of rest. Pee-poo. Hurry up and finish the dishes and clean up. Bibe. Hilai. Under Mugbupul's supervision, Bisugu and Siptiaku took care of the cleaning. Of course, the youngest, Siptiaku, was tasked with the harder work. Bisugu and Siptiaku diligently handled the cleanup. Damn it, one subordinate isn't enough. I can't live as the youngest forever. Though they each had different thoughts, they arrived at the same conclusion. We must save Jormungandr. If Jormungandr returned and became the youngest, their workload would lighten significantly. But how? With Blackie openly declaring his intention to annihilate Jormungandr, they needed a solid justification to overturn Blackie's decision and save him. Isn't there something? The two desperately racked their brains for a reason to save Jormungandr, but couldn't think of anything special. Pee-poo. Stop daydreaming and get back to work. Instead, they only got scolded by Mugbupul. Pee-poo. Scolded. Mugbupul grinned in satisfaction as he scolded the two. After all, he'd been on the receiving end every day until very recently. Once the cleanup was complete. Pee-poo, pee-poo, pee-poo. All right, good job, now go and sleep. Mugbupul took Bisugu and Siptiaku to where Sejun was. Kur. Gororong. Kurorong. Kirorong. Sejun and his companions were already asleep. They're all asleep. Creak, creak. The three quietly climbed onto Sejun's body, careful not to wake the others. Ah, this is nice. As expected, the fur of Great Blackie is so cozy. They nestled into Blackie's fluffy fur. Pipurorong. Biu. Hidorong. Perhaps tired from the cleanup, they soon fell asleep. Outskirts of destruction. Huff, huff. What the hell is going on? As Earthworm grew larger inside its stomach, Jormungandr swelled up like a pufferfish. GRRK. I need to spit this out to survive. For hours, Jormungandr desperately tried to expel Earthworm, but Earthworm showed no signs of budging. As Jormungandr flailed in an effort to spit out Earthworm. Kaying. Really, Jormungandr has hidden treasure. Bibe, bibe. Yes, I've seen Jormungandr secretly hiding shiny objects. Bisugu whispered to Blackie, sharing the justification he had come up with overnight to save Jormungandr. However, Kilahit Kaying. Hee, then we can just steal it and get rid of him. Butler will love that. Blackie, once the first seed of the Apostles of Destruction, might have mellowed out lately, but he was far from a softy. Bibe. It's hopeless. Disheartened, Bisugu, realizing he couldn't change Blackie's mind, retreated in disappointment. All right, my turn now. Siptiaku approached Blackie's ear. And then, whisper, whisper. He shared the idea he had thought of. Kaying. Really, Jormungandr was beside Lord Destruction when he fell. Hilai. Yes. Kaying. But why are you telling me this now? Hilai. I didn't think it was that important. Kaying. You're right, it's not that important. Hilai. Ugh. Of course, Blackie's opinion didn't change. As Blackie listened to his subordinates' arguments. Everyone, let's eat. Sejun called out to his companions, having finished preparing breakfast. Kilahit Kaying. Hee, butler, how many roasted and dried sweet potatoes do I get today? Overflowing with anticipation, Blackie ran to Sejun. However, oh right, I can't eat roasted and dried sweet potatoes for a week. Looking at the Yongari chicken nuggets in his bowl, Blackie was soon confronted with reality and became despondent. After breakfast and coffee time ended, "All right, let's go catch the youngest." Sejun stood up and addressed his companions. When they looked outside after the barrier vanished, the white snakes were no longer visible. Since Blackie only needed to crash into Jormungandr to handle the situation, there wasn't much danger. However, Kaying. Butler, no. Great Blackie said he would destroy Jormungandr. If you change your mind, Great Blackie's dignity will be tarnished. To preserve his dignity, Blackie opposed making Jormungandr the youngest. 3. Kaying. 10. 5. Kaying. 7. All right, 7. Kilahit Kaying. Hee, Butler, but can I eat roasted and dried sweet potatoes first before we go? Of course, Blackie's dignity could be traded for 7 roasted and dried sweet potatoes. That easily. Basugu and Siptiaku, who had been brainstorming ways to save Jormungandr since yesterday, were dumbfounded. All right here. When Sejun handed Blackie the roasted and dried sweet potatoes. Kilahit. Chomp. Blackie wagged his tail vigorously as he happily devoured the roasted and dried sweet potatoes, filling the emptiness in his soul. This is it. Thus Blackie, having satisfied his soul's emptiness with his soul food. Kilahit Kaying. Hee, Butler, let's go catch the youngest. Enthusiastically set out to capture Jormungandr. Sejun and his companions flew through the sky using Kyungi's telekinesis. Fire the seed cannon. Yes. Following Sejun's command, Iasipo fired the seed cannon, and they used the opening in the barrier to exit Earthworm. And then, Kilahit Kaying. Hee, Butler, wait a bit, I'll bring back our youngest. Thunk. Blackie family head-butted Jormungandr's stomach wall.